Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to Bet Online today to get in on all the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here.
Like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
For the remainder of this season, the team is opening the 21-day practice windows of both running back Kendre Miller and wide receiver Bub Means. Miller's return could be a huge addition to the backfield because Hill was the team's second leading rusher. It's no secret Miller's struggled to stay healthy since joining the Black and Gold. The former third-round pick has only played in 10 games over his 2 seasons. Former Saints head coach Dennis Allen voiced his frustrations with Miller, first when he suffered a hamstring injury on the very first day of training camp this season, and then again when he got a different hamstring injury in week 8. Miller shared some insight on his latest stint on injured reserve, saying being placed on it to begin with came as a surprise.
The whole time it was like the plan was me to play Atlanta, and I felt great. I've been running full speed for the longest, so it was just kind of frustrating a little bit.
When I took over a few weeks ago, I tried to give everybody a clean slate, so I don't have a doghouse. My doghouse is empty at the moment. So Kendre and I had met the first day, that I took over, and we had a great conversation. And I told him just that. I told him he had a clean slate moving forward, and I'm going to judge him by, based on what he does from that day moving forward. There's no one that's ever going to sit here and doubt that this guy's a talented guy. His thing is going to be consistency and staying healthy.
Another big positive for the Saints this week is they could enter the game against the New York Giants with a fully healthy offensive line. Interim head coach Darren Rizzi said both center Eric McCoy and left guard Lucas Patrick are trending in the right direction. However, there was a surprise absence at practice Wednesday. Right guard Cesar Ruiz is currently in concussion protocol, and his status is unknown for this weekend.
All right, shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream. Big ups. Welcome. Now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk for your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all being in this live edition of the Coma, man. It's Friday night. Hope you guys had a productive week. And it's time for the weekend yet again. So big ups to you guys, man, as we are getting close to the Week 14 Saints-Giants tilt. It'll be up in New York. It'll be cold. But, man, listen. Got to take care of business, man. We got to take care of business. All right, so anyway, let's jump right into it. Big ups to you. Appreciate y'all being in the stream, man. The Saints injury report for today is what it is, man. Let's get at it right quick. And of course, you heard the reporter had mentioned some of the things, but the Cesar Ruiz thing, even though he was in concussion protocol, he did practice Thursday. This was an earlier report. He fully practiced today, and his status right here is listed as what it is. And potentially, they thinking Cesar Ruiz should play in this game. Taysom Hill, of course, is officially placed. The Saints pretty much made it official today by putting Taysom Hill on IR. He's done for the rest of the year after the horrible leg injury that happened in the previous matchup. He's officially out for the rest of the season. Nick Saldiveri is listed out for this game with a knee issue. Juwan Johnson is good to go. Eric McCoy went from limited to fully practiced. That's good for McCoy. Bub Means is out. He went backwards from limited to DMP, so he had a setback. He'll be out. Foster Monroe fully practiced with the shoulder. Lucas Patrick also looks good to go. Tanu Passanio fully practiced all week, is listed as questionable, which is pretty much a game time decision. Tyrann Matthews good to go, and Kendre Miller is also a game time decision. We kind of played that because that's a big part of what's going on here, because with Taysom Hill out, you're going to have to find that production from somewhere else. And we know that Jamal Williams is not a part of the Saints offense. They barely use him. He was dealing with a groin issue over the last several weeks, but even prior to that, he wasn't very active in the Saints season at all, if you think about it. I mean, he very spot duty from a veteran running back that could help, but the Saints have not been able to utilize him successfully where he can be able to be a help to whatever they got going on. So the look is to go to Kendre Miller, which is not strange, but Kendre Miller, like I said, was unfairly, I guess he was tabbed by Dennis Allen and kind of was the whooping person when Dennis Allen wanted to talk about injuries with players, but didn't say nothing about Nick Saldiveri, didn't say nothing about Ryan Ramczyk, any other player that had repetitive injuries. So he decided to kind of get at Kendre, and then one of the last things he did before they kicked his ass out of here was he did the thing where he placed Kendre Miller on the injury list. As you heard, that was a bit of a surprise from him. And it's just, I'm just glad the guy's gone. But here's some stuff about Jamal Williams. His numbers right here. This is Jamal Williams up to this point. This is a complete disaster. Like another year, last year was not a good year. This year is another bad year. This is turning out to be a very bad pickup for the Saints, even though I like Jamal Williams as a person. But this production is woeful. This is like one game worth of production, if a really good game of production, right? 32 carries for 124 yards, a touchdown with a 4-yard average. That's like one really good game for the season. And this is basically what his rushing total is as of the full season. So it's not been a very good pickup at all for Jamal Williams, man. Plus the fact that the Saints have just gravitated away from him to now go to Kendre Miller, a guy that was on the injury report to be able to do it. Me personally, why not use all of them? With Taysom Hill out, you can combination all those guys. That does call for some imagination. It does call for some intelligence. It does call for some discipline to be able to utilize those players in the correct areas of the game. But, we'll see how it all rolls, man. But the Jamal Williams experiment in New Orleans has been a unmitigated disaster. It has been a terrible signing for the Saints. It was brought in with so much potential, but it has not. It has been one of the worst signings that the Saints have had, in a while in terms of running backs, because in principle, Jamal Williams fits what you got going on, but they have not successfully been able to utilize the guy at all in the couple of years that he's been here. It's been just horrible numbers. And if that's the case, why not just use an undrafted guy? That'll be a lot more expensive. I mean, less expensive rather than what we've seen from Jamal Williams, because boy, it's just not a good look. And of course, the rest of it's like we talked about Kendre Miller, with him coming back, and Jamal Williams is a veteran running back with Kendre there. And that's what I was saying. You can't really count on Kendre Miller, even though he's, is a guy with a lot of potential. He's been in and out of the lineup. Last year he was hurt. This year is in and out of the lineup. But and it's just hard to kind of depend on these guys when they're in and out of the lineup like that. You know, Pete Werner with a hand is going to be good to go. And of course, when you go to the Giants side of things, you can see they got a bunch of stuff going on. Defensive back Tate Banks is out. Jermaine Elamunor is out. Well, doubtful for the game. Questionable is Evan Neal, the big offensive lineman. Out is Nunez Roches. He's out. So is Bobby Okriki. I hope I'm saying that right. Probably not. DJ Davison is doubtful for the game, but then Tommy DeVito, who they already said that the quarterback who will be starting is Drew Lock for the game. That's the latest reports are saying Drew Lock will be playing against the Saints, and we'll get into the breakdown of that. But DeVito would be available. Bryce Ford Wheaton, the wide receiver, is also fully practiced. Questionable is Deontay Johnson, the linebacker. The defensive lineman Jordan Riley is questionable. Tyler Nubin with a knee, he's good to go. Dane Belton is there, and the phenomenal LSU wide receiver Malik Neighbors dealing with a groin. He was DNP and is a game time decision. We'll see what's going on with him. Offensive lineman Christopher Hubbard is questionable, and defensive back Drew Phillips is also listed as questionable. But both those guys were DNP'd. Neighbors, Hubbard, and Phillips were DNP'd in Friday's practice and will be game time decisions. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. And like I said, you're going against a team that's 2-10. They are all over the place. And it's pretty much a team in free fall if you think about it. It's going to be interesting to see how they all line up. All right, so anyway, let's keep it moving, man. Shout out to y'all for being in the stream. The Saints, this is another article that's dropped. Shout out to Canal Street Chronicles. Saints work out defensive back Tyrell Ford. The Saints thought they'd be working out some people. This is a guy that worked out. Saints defensive back room has been all over the place this season. With Lattimore traded, Paulson and Debo out for the season, the team's cornerback depth has deteriorated. At safety, Tyrann Mathieu has picked up injuries throughout the season, and the depth is already at a worrying spot. Adding more depth would not be surprising. And this Thursday, the Saints worked out a Canadian defensive back by the name of Tyrell Ford. So they looked at him from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Ford currently plays in the CFL for the Blue Bombers, was drafted immediately to the Blue Bombers in 22, but in 23, the Packers signed him to a reserves future contract. Green Bay ended up releasing him. In 2024, he re-signed with Winnipeg. On defense, Ford's a great tackler, real eye for the ball. The season had 7 interceptions and 51 tackles. The defense in the CFL is a bit different, but Ford shows some real skill that can translate to the NFL. There are a couple of reasons why the Saints worked out for it. Rod Teamer was just suspended by the NFL, and although he hasn't had any snaps on defense, he was utilized on special teams. Ford has familiarity playing on special teams and could fill the void seamlessly. This also could be because of the overall depth of the Saints roster. As mentioned before, the defensive back depth is not great, and Ford has played really well at the position this year. Signing Ford to contract be a low-risk move with the floor of having an impact player on special teams, but the ceiling of signing a potential contributor on defense. So shout out to Canal Street Chronicles for filling us in on that scoop. And yeah, they're definitely dealing with some injuries and all kind of stuff in the secondary that we need to just be mindful of, man. It is a late in the year, and it is 5 weeks left remaining in the season. So yeah, we got to find a way to adjust around these things and keep it moving. Saints Matthew Hayball leads the Pro Bowl voting for NFC punters. How about that? How about Matt Hayball? Has a theory on why he was the top vote getter for the NFC punters when the NFL released the current leaders for the Pro Bowl voting this week. Quote, they say they have ranked by punts inside 20, so many names pop up first. Saints punters say, I'm not sure people are paying as close attention when they're voting for the punters, so who knows? Hayball leads the NFC with 29 punts inside of the 20, and that status helped him become a surprising leader among the Pro Bowl votes. The 27-year-old rookie is the only Saints player to earn most votes for their position in conference, with running back Elvin Kamara 4th, Tyrann Mathieu 6th also clocked in at the top 10. As flattered as he was, Hayball said he doesn't expect the Pro Bowl selection to happen. It's obviously nice, but I think Detroit's Jack Fox will be for the NFC this year, and it's my prediction. Hopefully 1 year, but I don't think it'll be this year, though. You never know, man. Even if the Saints rookie isn't rewarded with the selection, Hayball has developed nicely for the Saints after signing an undrafted rookie out of Vanderbilt. The Australian native beat out incumbent Lou Hedley in training camp to become New Orleans punter, and that wasn't really all to do. Lou Hedley wasn't really punting that well. In addition to leading his conference with the most punts inside of the 20, Hayball has also punted the third most times in NFC with 50. Assistant special teams coach Phil Galliano said Hayball still has a ways to go for his improvement, but added the punts has a really bright future. He's been doing a really good job. Matt Hayball, family members' votes alone won't earn him a spot. Those votes only count for 1/3 of the overall selection, with players and coaches determining the other 2/3 votes. The Pro Bowl will take place in Orlando, Florida on Sunday, February the 2nd. 1 year we'll get there, Hayball said. So, yeah, and that's a good thing, man. So congratulations to him for even being listed there, because he came from really nowhere. And Matt Hayball was a guy, Australian guy, one of these guys, and he really has been kicking very well for the Saints, especially when our offense kind of struggles. He's been doing a good job of kind of pinning guys back and doing what they do. All right, so let's move forward, man, into this. I just wanted to show this right here to y'all. This is what the playoffs right now, the standings right now look like in the AFC and NFC as we move forward. This is a couple of things here, and this is showing people that's clinched, and this is the in the hunt stuff. As you can see on this side, you can see the NFC stuff: Eagles, Seahawks, Falcons, Vikings, Packers. You see the Commanders are there. The Buccaneers are there. The Cardinals are there. Rams, who just beat us. Niners are 5-7. Cowboys, who the Saints beat early in the year, and of course 13, who bringing in number 13. So that, like I said, the only way in is you gotta play all the way out. You gotta win out. The real interesting thing is when you look at these, the Saints face several of these teams on this list heading into it. Difficult matchups: Packers, Commanders, Bucks are all teams that is one of the 5 teams that will be playing during the week. So that kind of adds an extra veneer to it, doesn't it? It does. With you looking at teams that you like, the Bucks, that's last of the year, the Commanders and the Packers. These are teams that they will see, going forward. So like I said, we're at 13. You see who's there. And then, of course, they have teams that are eliminated right here, as you can see. Patriots, Jags, Raiders, and Giants all eliminated from contention. Panthers on their way out, too. Another loss, I think, will knock them out of there, too. So, yeah, we getting deep up in this thing, man. 4-8, the Saints stand. They'll take on a 2-10 Giant club, who are the only NFC team currently eliminated. So there you go there. Just wanted to kind of share that with you guys to kind of let you know what it looks like currently as far as that's concerned, right? And we know this is, in my opinion, man, I think this is one of those situations where this is kind of not out of the realm. It's not, they're not mathematically eliminated, but it's going to take something. It's going to take something really special. In my honest estimation, it's going to take a lot more than what we've been seeing for them to bear down and finish strong. That's you have no more room for error. There is nothing more that you can do in terms of what you've been doing. You need to completely finish with clean. You got to clean the slate. Whatever's left, you got to clean it and mop it up and push it on out of it. That's all that's pretty much what it is and how it is, if you think about it. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. All right. Anyway, let's keep it going, man. Shout out to you guys. Much love. I see y'all there. Big ups to you. Roll, big ups. Can you to you? Arvin, bronze flat power guide. John says, my Raiders need you guys to lay down this weekend to protect their pick. Carr needs to be his usual self. It'll be the only thing he ever did for us. Is that Krillin on there? All right, and then you got Backwoods. What's up, Backwoods? Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you. Much love. All right. yeah, Ro. Yeah, Samuel Jackson. yeah. He said, hey, if you continue with these obscenities, I'll be forced to thrash you. And Samuel Jackson, look, I think that was Samuel Jackson's first role if I'm not mistaken, he looked Eddie Murphy up and down and said, "Who the you know what is this? You know." Please, sir, if you continue with these obscenities, I'd be forced to thrash you. Then he told him, "F you." I think that was his first role, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was his first role. Like he had smaller than like first big role as the bank robber of the McDowells. He looked like that dude, didn't he? I ain't gonna lie to you. Samuel Jackson looked like that dude. He looked like a dude that's hard, that was down on his. Yeah, yes, that was a good movie. All right, so anyway, man, let's keep it pushing, man. As we get to the breakdown of the preview of it, man. Shout out to you. What's up, Arvin? Slim, good to see you, sir. Appreciate you. L Dub was popping, sir. Much love, man. Yeah, can you too? You says Kendra Miller has been a hamstring bust, man. It's just it's all raggedy, man. All this shit is raggedy, man. To be honest with you, this season it was a complete waste of time. We still got 5 games left, and I don't want to discount the games that's remaining because there is a potential that the Saints could lock in and win these games. However small people believe it to be, there's still a chance for them to win. They definitely, in my opinion, estimation, will beat the Giants. I do think they'll beat the Giants, but there is no more room for error. Everything has to be a win heading forward, and it will take a huge effort. And I ain't just talking about the players. Of course, you obviously say the players have to play better. But fam, to be quite honest with you, and I'm always honest, but even I guess ratchet it up a few, man. The reality is like it's not just the players, but the play callers, especially pinpointing into the offensive side of the ball. They're going to have to call better games. And I've not heard, I was listening to Rizzy this week. I haven't heard him mention any changes in terms of the play calling on the offensive side of the ball. I haven't heard it. And that's a problem. And they're wasting a lot of time trying to figure it out, man. It ain't hard to figure out. We need some change at the play calling level. The plays are too simplistic. They're too vanilla and they're too predictable. It is. It's just too predictable. We need to have something else there. Whatever, we need some more wrinkles. We got 5 games remaining in the season. Whatever you were holding, you better let it go. You better throw it out there. You need to throw that out there. And like I said, we'll see about Chris Olave in a couple of games from now. And if he comes back, him and MVS will make a good tandem to have there and to roll, to have Chris Olave and MVS together, man, that'll be a nice tandem, real nice tandem of wide receivers late. But man, we definitely need a little bit. We need a lot more imagination in our play calling, man. We really do. All right. So anyway, let's get into it, man. For this one, New Orleans Saints, the strong record of 4-8 versus the Giants, who are 2-10. We go back to our noontime kickoff, which is good. I like the noontime games. They don't eat up all your day. The spread, you can see with the Saints are 5-7 against the spread. Giants are 3-9. The overall record, the Giants lead by 2 games, 17-15. That's the overall series. Last time the Saints met, they beat up on the Giants 24-6 back on December the 17th of 2023 in the Dome. Last week, the Saints lost to the Rams 21-14. Giants lost to the Cowboys 27-20. Then we get into the stats. Overall statistics of the Saints, 12th offensively, 12th rank in the NFL. They're 10 in the top 10 rushing attack. They're ranked 19 in passing, and the scoring is 14th, which is basically middle of the NFL. Saints defense is overall ranked 30th out of 32 teams. They're 26th against the rush and 29th against the pass, and their scoring is 19th rank in the NFL. And it just goes to show you that that's just a lot of credits given to Alvin Kamara. He's having a phenomenal year. AK-41's having a terrific year this year. He really is. And they paid him a lot of people. And I said, and I kind of looked at it, I was like, man, this guy's going to have a breakout year. And he's close to getting that 1,000 with 5 games remaining. Kamara should easily eclipse that 1,000 yards. So hopefully he'll get that, because that's something that he never got before all of these years and all of the stuff that he's done. I mean, he's taken the Saints franchise. It's amazing because he's taken the Saints franchise running record and a bunch of running stats and all this kind of stuff. He's the best back the Saints ever have statistically. And he's done all of that, right? And he's never had a 1,000-yard rushing campaign. That is just phenomenal. And he'll definitely get it this year. He might have 1,100 yards rushing this year. He need one really good game where he breaks out and have like a 130-yard game. It might be against the Giants. Who knows? But yeah, he's been terrific, man. If we all give out like season MVPs, Alvin Kamara would definitely get my NFL MVP. He got his money, and then he responded by having a very solid year. He's averaging over 4 yards a carry, and at times he was all they had. He's seventh in the NFL in rushing yards. He's sixth in the NFL in carries. He's tied 15th for touchdowns, and he averages almost 4.3 yards per game. So he's just been phenomenal, man. Some games he could have even got more. They went away from AK-41 for whatever weird reason. But anyway, back to it, man. Going to the opposite side of it, looking at the Giants stuff. They're tied 26th in NFL overall offense. They run the ball, and their rush offense is ranked 15th. Their passing attack is damn near last, and their scoring is last. So this is a team that hasn't won a game at home all season long. They're 0-6 at home. The 2 wins came on the road, and they're just a team that's got rid of their starting quarterback, Daniel Jones. They already waived him. They're operating with backups right now. There is a lot of just stuff going on. The Giants are in a rebuild mode, same as the Jets. Jets and Giants are going to have new coaches next year. So it's just a free fall in terms of these New York franchises. The Buffalo Bills, it's also a New York team, is doing a really phenomenal job. And that guy, McDermott, has more wins. I think he has more wins than John Madden did in his first 8 years. And John Madden had a ton of wins when he first came. He's almost like a football savant. And he had in this McDermott, since he went to Buffalo, they've just been kicking ass and winning games. They're not winning any championship, but they've been very competitive since he's been there. So yeah, that's been a good thing. Then, of course, on defense, which is the better unit, if you won't call it that, 19th overall defense. They're 29th against the rush. They're 6th against the pass, and their scoring defense is holding people, and it's ranked at about 18th in the NFL. The turnover differential, Saints +2, Giants -8. So that's going to be interesting to see. And they mentioned some of the players to watch. Derek Carr, the quarterback, completed 23 of 28 for 218, 3 touchdowns, no picks in the previous meeting, and had a 134.8 quarterback rating. Players to watch: Drew Lock, that's the quarterback. We'll be looking out for. A veteran quarterback to make his second start with Tommy DeVito for a forearm hurt. He threw for 178 yards and ran for a career high 57 yards in a loss to the Giants. He scored on an 8-yard run, had a 28-yard scramble to set up another. He also made mistakes throwing a pick 6 and losing a fumble on the scramble. So yeah, he's kind of messed up. Then, of course, you look at the key matchup, Saints versus Giants defense. The Saints defense is banged up, especially in the middle. The Giants. Dexter Lawrence, elbow is on IR Monday, and fellow starter Raheem Nunez Roches is former Roches, who's a former Tampa Bay Buccaneer defensive lineman, neck and shoulder issues. Inside linebacker and leader tackler Bobby Okereke is back, which is on the back, his back issues. He's out after being hurt in the Dallas game. Taysom is done for the year, as we know. Kendre Miller is eligible to come back, and a lot of people think he'll start. Nick Saldiveri is out. We talk about Bub Means being out. McCoy should be good. Cesar should be good. Patrick should be good. Tyrann Mathieu is good. And we'll see some of those games. Giants, rookie tight end Theo Johnson was placed on IR. He'll be out for the rest of the season. He's a pretty good tight end. So they're just dealing with a lot of injuries as well. And bad coaching puts them in the streets. So as we see. So anyway, there's a little stats and stuff for you. The Saints are 2-1 under Rizzi. who was born in New Jersey, grew up a Giants fan. That's what they're saying. Carr ranked 6th among qualified passers, with a 103.3 rating at 24. Wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling had TD catches in his past 3 games. Juwan Johnson had 5 catches against the Rams. Brian Brzee has a career high 6.5 sacks and is looking for his 3rd straight game with a sack. He had 2 sacks against New York last season. Defensive lineman Chase Young has 2 sacks and 3 tackles for a loss against the Giants in December. Linebacker Demario Davis had 10 tackles and a sack in the previous meeting. Cornerback Alontae Taylor is the only player with at least 10 pass defended and 5 tackles and a loss in each of the past 2 years. Tyrann Mathieu needs 5 tackles for his 8th straight season of at least 50 tackles. Tyron Tracy, who you guys are going to get familiar with, the running back, ranked 2nd among rookies with 619 yards, a man averaging 5 yards a carry. He has 4 touchdowns as well. And Malik Neighbors, 75 catches for 740 yards. His reception total is the most by a rookie in his first 10 games. So he's tearing it up. Wendell Robinson has a career high in 63 catches. Brian Burns has a career high 8 pass defended and 10 tackles for a loss. Tyler Nubin leads all rookies and then ranks 4th among defensive backs with 93 tackles. The Giants have set an NFL record going 11 straight games without an interception. They have 1 interception this year. 1 interception this year. The NFL record for fewest a season is 2 by the 2018 49ers. The fewest in the season by the Giants was 6 in 2022. They got 1 pick. That defense ain't doing nothing. That's why they turning them over. So a lot of craziness there in Giant land. And like we said, they're not doing a really good job. Now, as we flash, now this is what some of their players look like here. As we know, Daniel Jones was waived. He's out of here. So Drew Lock is the guy on the season. Through 4 games, 25 of 41 for 187 yards, an interception, a pick 6, as I just talked about. The top running back, Tyrone Tracy Jr., 12 games, he had 125 carries, 619. He's averaging 5 yards a carry, 4 rushing touchdowns. He does have a couple of fumbles this year. Really tough, mean runner they got right there. So they do have some elements here. Malik Neighbors, we don't know what was going to be. It'll be a game time decision with Malik. Darius Slayton, who's a wide receiver we've seen, had pretty decent outings this year alone, though he has just 34 catches this year for 477 yards and a touchdown. But he does average 14 yards per catch, which is the most by far in his team. Wendell Robinson has 63 catches off of 91 targets, 447 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He averaged just over 7 yards per catch there. So as you can see, Darius Slayton is the guy who kind of helps take the top off the defense. And with long catches, you got to watch out for Slayton. We've got burned by Slayton before. But outside of that, not a lot to talk about. Theo Johnson at tight end, that actually is going to be a good tight end for him in the future. He is on the IR, so he won't be somebody you have to be dealing with. You'll see Daniel Bellinger, who just has 3 catches on the season. Chris Manhertz, y'all remember him, former Saint tight end. Chris Manhertz is on his team. He's pretty much a blocking tight end. They don't use him for too much. And then defensively, we talk about a lot of their players are just banged up, man. A lot of their players are hurt. Bobby Okereke, through 12 games, 93 total tackles, 4 sacks. He's out. Here, Tyler Nubin, the safety, is the next guy with 53 tackles. Like I said, they don't really have many interceptions. The only guy that has an interception this year is the linebacker, Darius Masau. And then you have the rest of these guys. So you like I say, Brian Burns is there. They do have some players there. Hira there. Ojulari is on this team. Cordell Flott is on this team. But still in all, the Giants are just a team in disarray. Kayvon Thibodeau's on this team. Adoree Jackson's on this team. But a lot of these guys, man, what can I tell you? The Giants team, just as a team, man, it's the worst team in the NFC. And they have a lot of problems outside of injuries. Their coach is gone, and it's just they're free falling. This is a team that's in total free fall. So it is what it is, right? And the Giants be lined up for the draft next year, and they probably be looking at one of the quarterbacks, whether it's Deion Sanders' son, Shador Sanders, or Cam Ward, who's kind of dropping after, his play over the last several weeks. They have a couple other quarterbacks that we'll see what Ewers do for the Texans. I mean, for the Longhorns, he's supposed, but there's a couple other quarterbacks out there before. Those just the flash guys. But I don't know if they said they'll be up there with those guys, but they'll have a few other quarterbacks. But top quarterbacks looking at like a Sanders, and I don't know if you would want your son to go play for the Giants, man. The Giants ain't really working with a lot, So we'll see, man. We'll see what the atmosphere is in terms of that move forward. But this year, the Giants are absolute dumpster fire, man. Hey, what can I tell you, man? They got people worse than you, Who Dat Nation. You need to be thankful for that. That you're not in their spot, right? By 2 games. All right, but anyway, this is the depth chart for them. Drew Lock is there. We talked about him being a starting quarterback. Tyrone Tracy Jr., Malik Neighbors is questionable. It's a game-time decision. Wendell Robinson is the second leader in terms of reception. Darius Slayton, we talked about him. He's there. Daniel Bellinger, the tight end. And then you look at the line is banged up there. Evan Neal's dealing with injury at the right tackle. The left tackle is doubtful for the game. Chris Hubbard is also listed as questionable for the game, so they have injuries there. John Runyon on the inside. Michael Schmitz Jr. inside with Van Ruten. So the offensive line having issues from the tackle level. In the defense, you see Nunez Roche is out. Jordan Riley in the nose tackle is questionable. He might play. Okereke is out for the game. He's their top tackler and middle linebacker. So you'll see McFadden and maybe one of these other guys, Ty Summers or one of them probably fill in for him. But Brian Burns is there. Tyler Nubin's the second leading tackle on the team. Deontay Banks might be out, so you'll probably see Adoree Jackson there. Drew Phillips. So they got injuries all over the place, to be honest with you, man. All kind of injuries, just the same as us. But we're not in those type of straits. So this is pretty much what the team look like. And like I said, this is the worst team in the NFC that the Saints will be doing battle with. So we'll see. And we need to handle our business against this team, really, to be honest with you, man. All right, looking at the Saints starter here. Derek Carr, Elvin Kamara, MVS is there, Kevin Austin Jr. and Cedric Wilson Jr. Saints just got to hold on, man. We've seen Dante Pettis added to the wide receiver core a little bit more, even though Mason Tipton is listed as an active receiver. He has not really gotten an opportunity to play since they moved Pettis and Kevin Austin, who's been taking good, chance with his, been taking a pretty good step in terms of being a wide receiver for the Saints. When he's given an opportunity, he's shined. But it's been pretty good. And of course, you look at the Saints tight end, Juwan Johnson, Foster Moreau, Dalen Hawker. These guys are going to have to step up in the absence of Taysom Hill. The big issue is in terms of the running back situation. Jamal Williams is there. Jordan Mims is listed there. So at some point, Kendre Miller will be activated, more than likely going to drop Jordan Mims, probably waive him or whatever the case is, like they did before when Kendre Miller was healthy enough to come back. Jordan Mims will disappear for Kendre Miller to make appearance on the Saints roster. So with Taysom out, just be looking for him to be activated this year. That's why I started the show with the broadcast with that report indicating as such. Adam Prentice at the fullback position. Fuaga Seldaveri is out, so Lucas Patrick is in. McCoy, Ruiz, and Penning. So Fuaga, Patrick, McCoy, Ruiz, and Penning. So the Saints will get their starting 5 back for the Giants matchup, which is good. That's a good thing. And then defensively speaking, as usual, Chase Young, Carl Granderson, Cam off the bench when Nate Shepard, Colin Saunders. Brian Bressee's been cutting up in the middle doing his thing. Tanu Passanio should be he should come back or should be listed to come back this game. And having Tanu Passanio back helps the Saints in so many ways, man, because not as a pass rusher, even though you can use him as that, I'm looking more so of having him and Brian Bresee as reserve defensive tackles on the inside of the line. Could you imagine that? Brian Bressee's 6'5", very disruptive, and Tanu Passanio is like 6'7", 300 pounds. But he's not a big plodding 300-pounder. He's a slim, not trim, but a slimmer athlete with long limbs, had bad balls down. He's very intelligent too. So to be cool seeing Tanu Passanio, he didn't make activation last week, but in people anticipating word on the street is that him and Miller, Kendre Miller, that is, should be activated for this game, which will be a plus because we can use Tanu. We can use him for these last leg of games, just like we can use Kendre Miller. And of course, in a couple of games, hopefully we'll get Chris Olave back if everything works the same, right? All right. So anyway, then of course we'll talk about the linebackers there. DeMario, Pete, Willie Gay at the linebacker position. And then our cornerbacks, Alante Kool-Aid, Ugo Amadi, Tyrann Mathieu, and Will Harris. This is healthy as we can get right there, right? With everything going on with our secondary. And like I said, it could be a lot worse in terms of the Saints defense, that they got a lot of their guys back and get passing your back helps. The Saints offense could get Chris Olave back in a couple of games to pair. And what's really exciting, about the Saints offense is the fact that, when Michael Thomas left, we were talking about getting players, right? We were talking about getting players to help the offense, like MVS doesn't have a complement, right? Kevin Austin Jr. is an inexperienced wide receiver. Cedric Wilson Jr., I don't know what he's doing. Cedric Wilson Jr. did catch a ball. He is out there blocking, but he doesn't have much of an impact on the game insofar as catching passes and nothing. He doesn't have any speed. And it just hasn't been a good year for Cedric Wilson Jr. either. So getting Chris Olave back and having MVS there, that to me is really cool. And then next year you re-sign, because obviously it's three players that I pick that the Saints should definitely re-sign. MVS is one of those guys. Chase Young should be the other guy, because the Saints have not done a good enough job of drafting a defensive end. They tried to replace Cam with Marcus Davenport. That was a failure. They tried to replace him with Peyton Turner. And Peyton Turner has done well as a reserve, but I'm not swayed by Peyton Turner as a reserve. If you made him your starter, would he play, those games? Would he play all those games? Would he do that? And that's the thing. And plus they turned down his 5th-year option, which means he's unrestricted free agent. Now, if he comes back cheap, that's cheap at a good rate to help continue his rebuild. That's one thing. But outside of that, the Saints understand that the big question was, can Chase Young stay healthy? And Chase Young has stayed healthy, and he's on his way. Lord say the same, finishing the season strong, and the Saints should offer him a contract, because there's nothing to compare him and Chase Young and Carl Granderson should, I would lock them too, contractually speaking, in as IDEs, because them two fast physical guys, two big guys that can move. And it's just, that's the thing, because we haven't been able to draft anybody to replace Cam Jordan, and Chase Young is a guy like, man, we got this guy on a steal. We got him on a deal based on his injury situation, how the Saints got the deal rolled. And it was one of them deals where the Carolina Panthers should have signed him, and they didn't. They let him go. The Saints got him, and that was a really good signing for the Saints, unlike the Jamal Williams signing or the Marcus May signing. This was actually a solid signing. So he's one of the guys. MVS, because the MVS signing, they sign him back at the end of the year, bring him back. You could be able to pair MVS, Chris Olave, and Rashid Shaheed together next year. Could you imagine that? That'll be the best tandem of wide receivers that are healthy that we've seen in a while. And then MVS with his speed component and side components, the perfect complement to Chris Olave. Because Chris Olave, I've often felt like Chris Olave is not, I ain't saying he's not a number one, but if you put him in tandem with an MVS who has size and speed, and put him outside, put Olave on the other side, you can really see Olave take off, and put Rashid Shaheed back where he belongs in the slot, the guard for the third cornerback, the guard against him. You got three fast wide receivers that could take the top off the defense. The only problem would be the offensive coordinator figuring out how to get those guys involved, and the quarterback being able to get the ball to him. That would be the only issue there. But outside of that, man, that would be a solid move. So MVS, Chase Young, and the third guy is Will Harris. Now, we can probably push it a little forward, but I just want to keep it short with those guys, those three. So MVS, Chase Young, Will Harris. Those guys have been solid for us and really contributed to the Saints team. They really have. All right, anyway, we're going to keep it moving and grooving here. Yeah, and that's pretty much what it is and how it is. But yeah, the defensive, speaking for the Saints, they're pretty as healthy as you get. Now, I mean, Paulson Adebo is out. We traded Marshawn Lattimore. But we do have DeMario. We do have Pete, even though Pete dealing with that hand issue. We do have Willie Gay. We do have all of these other guys healthy. Passanio coming back. So it's looking pretty good for the Saints defensively speaking. Hopefully we'll get Chris Olave back in a couple of games, and we'll keep it moving and grooving, baby. That's what we're supposed to do. Now, let's get into the aspect of the show, man. We kind of talk about scheme and what it would take for the Saints to beat this team. And the truth of the matter is, fam, listen, this ain't going. And I'm not going to disparage the Giants because it's still a football game, and then at any time anything could happen. We're going up there. It's supposed to be game time weather. They say it's going to be 50 degrees, kind of cloudy. It's not going to be any rain there, so it's going to be kind of cold up there. But that's why you bring your running game and your defense. This is a team that's struggling. The quarterback play is not all of that. The offensive line is kind of banged up. They do have a good running back, but I think the Saints can stop that guy. Malik Neighbors is having injury issues. We don't know if he'll play. It'll be a game time decision. So he's not there. They're one of their top weapons. And then you go defensively speaking, they have problems and issues. They got talent like many of these other teams, but the Giants are a team that don't play well at home. They got a lot of stuff going on, but there isn't a propensity for them to feel like, hey, man, let's get this dub. We don't have anything. Let's throw everything at the Saints that we got. Maybe we can get a win, that type of stuff. As far as the Saints are concerned, I don't want to say it's simple, but it's fundamental football 101. The Saints go up there. They got to bring the running attack. We got to lead with the run. That's why I think Kendra Miller would be active in the game. You'll see Alvin Kamara and Kendra Miller. They activated him. Hopefully the play caller, the signal caller, not Derek Carr, but the play caller, the offensive coordinator could be able to get the running game going, like get Elvin mixed in there, kind of use him as a wide receiver if you need to, kind of have Kendra Miller and Jamal Williams operate there, kind of move AK-41 41 around a little bit. And I was looking at like the film and looking at other teams in MVS. MVS needs to be moved around. Right, slide them around, send them in motion. I've seen them send them in motion a couple of times, but kind of move MBS around to kind of find a mismatch. Move them around because they're going to cover him and leave everybody else open because they're not afraid of any of those other guys, but they don't want MBS to kill him. So I mean, we could kind of move him around and create opportunities, just like we could do it for Alvin Kamara. He let Alvin run the ball, but at the same time, give carries to Kendra Miller, give them to Jamal Williams, and just get other guys, as many guys as we can get involved. We're going to need our tight ends to get involved. Jawan Johnson, Foster Moreau, and Dallin Hawker, we need to get these guys to help out too with some of the stuff that's going on in the offense. And like I said, it should be a running attack, like getting the ground game going to get the play action set up for Derek Carr. And it should be one of the games like I like what the Saints did last week in their attempt to try to create and control the clock. They did a good job in the first half of the game against the Rams in controlling the clock and keeping the Rams off balanced. And then the Rams came out in the second half and just bullied the Saints on that first drive and just walked down the field and just brutalized the Saints. Just bullied them, pushed them out. Nothing was really complicated. They just played with mano a mano and pushed the Saints downfield for the score. I don't anticipate that happening here with the Giants, but at the same time, this should be a blowout game for the Saints. I mean, the Saints should beat the Giants the Cowboys beat them by 27-20 last game. But it should be a blowout for the Saints. It probably won't, but it'd be like a game. I'm thinking the Saints should beat this team like 24-10. I know they ain't a blowout, but like 24-10 or 27-10 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? 27-13, some kind of stuff like that. They should walk past the Giants, but the Saints have problems offensively speaking and getting their game going. we'll see. This is like one of them games where you play even though you know that you're better than your opponent, but this is like one of the games that you iron out wrinkles on. Like you try out stuff on this team. Your offensive stuff as you get going into the rest of the four remaining games behind the Giants. Not looking beyond the Giants, mind you, but I'm saying this is the game where you try out new wrinkles. This is a team that's a 2-10 team. They're 0-6 in their hometown in their building. You go in there, man, and you just run. You smash on them, bro. You smash down on them with the running attack. You eat up clock. You do not turn the ball over. And then when you get on the defensive side of the ball, you send your defense after that bull crap quarterback they got that'll be standing up there. And this dude, the former quarterback for the Denver Broncos, he went up to Seattle. But you have to kind of turn it on and get to him and knock the piss out of Drew Lock. That's what it comes down to. And not letting him scramble around on you because he will take off on you. You can't let him scramble around you to create opportunities. But this is one of the games where the Saints should be trying out new offensive stuff against this team, because it's like whatever wrinkles or errors or issues that we have offensively speaking, we iron them out against this team, because who you got behind them, you got some pretty damn good teams that you got to play coming up next. The Saints after this come home against the Commanders. That's going to be an interesting matchup because the Commanders are trying to position themselves for a playoff push. You got the Green Bay Packers, who are a very difficult game. They gave the Detroit Lions all they can stand, so, and then at the end of the year, you got the Buccaneers. So the Saints have to fix listen, with 5 games remaining there, they have to fix these offensive issues. They have to fix these issues. And against the Giants, you should be able to iron out wrinkles against this team, so you can be able to set yourself up for success moving forward. So in my opinion, like I said, running the ball, getting the play action going, eating the clock up, and the defense pinning their ears back and going after Drew Lock, knocking them around, doing what they do, forcing turnovers. And like I said, the Giants defense, they're not opportunistic. They have 1 interception on the entire year. So this is a team that don't get turnovers. They like what? The Saints are +2. This team is like -8. So yeah, they don't get turnovers. They got talent over there, and we're not going to disrespect them. But at the same time, we got to make them understand there's a place. It's a hierarchy in NFL, and we're better than you, and we should go in the building and we should show you that we're better. That's the mentality that you got to have going forward. So God knows, we all know the current Saints do have a lot of problems. They're not mathematically eliminated for whatever they're trying to do. It's no more mistakes. There's no more losses allowed. And you have to run the gamut. You have to finish strong with all wins if you want to have a chance. Now, the crazy part about it is, like I said earlier, the Saints have matchups against teams that are also lining up. 3 teams that they are, that's ahead of them in this stuff. They got an opportunity to knock them off and hopefully see how everything falls on the back end. But that's a tough thing to say. That's tough. But like I said, the offense is the issue. The defenses play well enough. They're not perfect. They play well enough. Special teams has done a good job. The Saints offense has been a problem. The Saints they do not score enough points. They score 1 touchdown here. It's just not enough. They had 1 touchdown against the Giants. I mean, not the Giants, against the Rams last week. They scored a touchdown, and then they had the 2-point conversion on top of the field goals that your boy kicked. You see, so you can't with the weapons that we have, just putting up 1 touchdown here or there. You're not going to beat the good teams doing that. You got to take advantage. So we'll see what happens, man. But this is a win in my book, fam. I would have to give the Saints a win. I think they beat the Giants. Hell, I think they beat the Giants by 2 scores. That's what I think. All right. Anyway, fam, shout out to y'all. If y'all got any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. We up in this thing, man. Friday night, talking black and gold. And by the way, fam, we got an on cue with Big Q that I've recorded and will be putting up tonight for the Patreon family members on our Patreon, patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. It's talking about the guy, the CEO who was shot in New York, the CEO of the healthcare company. that was shot in New York. And you know, we it's a story that's very interesting. Very interesting. And I'm a very curious person, and some very curious things that I've seen happen, and that I'm gonna share in this latest report. Very curious. We're gonna share on Patreon. So I hope y'all, the Patreon family members, will enjoy that episode of On Q with Big Q. That'll be rolling out tonight for our Patreon family members. Very interesting, very weird stuff going with that story, but we'll cover it. All right. Anyway, any questions pertaining, man? Y'all throw them in the chat before we get ready to get out of here. Can you T says, hell, Q, you walk more yards in the dome than Miller has run. Yeah, it's crazy. The Kendra Miller thing is interesting, man. It's been it's been interesting, you know, with the whole Kendra Miller thing. But the whole point of, like, with the Saints offense and running, that I've been saying this the entire season, that we need to be more the offense needs to flow through. You know, you got option 1, you got option 2, option 3, but you still supposed to use your players to decoy to set opportunity up for lesser known players. That's how we supposed to do that. That makes your offense dangerous, because you don't know who's going to get the ball. And that's the thing that kind of hurts us. We're just well, I ain't gonna say we're one dimensional, but we're just so predictable. There's like 15, I won't even say that. How many plays is it that you guys see that we run? It's like less than 15 plays, I want to say. I'm going to be honest with you. I've gone off my recollection of watching this game. They cycle between 15 to 20 plays, 25 plays. And a lot of the plays are not double motion plays, or, you know, where that works because it tricks the defense. The defense seeing everything going on, they got to follow, because every time somebody moves, they got to react to it. It forces them to adapt and adjust. So if you have a defense that's not good at adapting, so if a guy goes into motion and then another guy motions, is this double motion of defense looking, and they don't know what to do, they're adjusting. You know, that forces the defense to think. It forces them to come out of whatever formation that they're in to adapt to your movement. And when that happens, you're supposed to be able to take advantage. What you're doing is basically creating or forcing them to tip their hand on what the defense is. That's how we supposed to then use, you know, go to an offensive play that takes advantage of that. Like if we motion and then it's supposed to be a run play to spread the defense open, but the next thing you know, it shows them that they're coming with the blitz, then you know what you got to do. But we have not been doing that. We haven't, to my estimation, I'm like, man, I don't see that happening, because a lot of the plays are like they're pre-scripted plays, meaning there's no reading of the defenses. When the ball is hiked, and Carr immediately turns to his left or his right, depending on where would be Taysom or where Elvin would be, just turns and fires it to him. There's no reading of the defense on some of those plays. And if you watch the play and watch how the defense react to it, there are plays down the field. Like there are times when the man is just, I don't know. He has protection, but instead of allowing the play to develop for opportunities to open up downfield, the ball is quickly thrown and there's no pressure. If you got to be patient enough to be able to allow the offense, the play to develop, and then have the wherewithal to be able to see where the safeties is and where you need to put the ball at. And that's still some issues right there that I'm seeing on film. So like I said, it's a lot of stuff has to change. You can't be this simplistic. But to me, it's like 15 to 25 plays. It's the play that we've seen with Derek Carr runs out as a wide receiver, and then Taysom was out. We've seen that play. He ran that play 3 times in that game. 3 times in the game. I'm like, dude, stop running that play. So I just I need to see more. And we were told that you had more, you have wrinkles and shit that you got to roll out and all this. And I'm like, man, it's 5 games left. Whatever you have, please throw it out there. Please do what you got to do. Please just roll it out there, because it's a chance your ass might not be back here. If it's a new coach coming in, I damn sure wouldn't want him back. I want somebody that has some imagination, somebody that can adapt, somebody that don't just run your same players into the damn ground. I want somebody that know how to take advantage of the players that they picked. This guy is a speed guy. We can get him involved here. This guy is this guy. We can use this guy at certain aspects of the game. Like hey, listen, you'll be our third and fourth down runner in between when we use an Elvin or whatever. We're going to put you in there, and kind of be organized with it. This guy here is just, and I like Kubiak, but he's too predictable. His play calling is really predictable. He does not adjust well. He doesn't adjust well. And then, it's questions about overusages of players, not knowing what to do, having these people here, and you don't know how to even use them. It's just really weird. So, I mean, yeah, this is a game where we got to iron that out because the offense got to score some points. The offense has to put up at least 3 touchdowns a game. It has to. We got to score at least 3 touchdowns a game to have a chance in all of these matchups that's coming up. You might have a game where you beat somebody with, put up 2 touchdowns, a couple field goals, something like that. But as a collective, you got to be able to put up at least 20-something points a game to have a chance. Doing this other stuff, man, it ain't going to work. All right. Anyway, let's see. Orvin says, we need a wide receiver. One, Olavi's not a proven wide receiver yet. That is true. I'll give you that. He's good, but he's a guy that is a compliment to a one. They had the right idea. Like when he had Michael Thomas here. Oh, okay, Mike's healthy. A healthy Mike Thomas and Chris Olave as a compliment to him is good. But I ain't gonna say the closest thing, but a really good version of that is MVS and a Chris Olave and a Rashid Shaheed. How do you guys like that? Because that idea to me is really cool. You have MBS, he's 6'3", 6'4", tall guy with a lot of speed. Chris Olave's on the opposite side of him with speed, can catch the ball, and then you have Rashid Shaheed in the slot. I love that idea. I love those wide receivers. That would be phenomenal. If you have those guys there, I would absolutely love that. That's what the Cedric Wilson Jr. signing was supposed to be. That was supposed to be NVS. With everything happened, it's just good we found him and got him in here now. But that's who Cedric Wilson Jr. the signing that was supposed to be MVS right there. But when I seen that, when I got MVS, I would have put Cedric Wilson Jr. in the street. I'm just telling you. I'd have put him in the street. And I would have went and found me somebody else. They got wide receivers that's free. And I would have brought them on here and got them involved because we need somebody that can stretch the field. We need another wide receiver that can stretch the field. And I would have seen I can find me a veteran, put him in there. We need another guy to stretch the field. He done totally abandoned Mason Tipton. Tipton hadn't really got anything going on. I was like, maybe you can kind of use him in the slot, have Kevin Austin Jr. on the opposite side of MVS and put Mason Tipton in the slot, a speed component. Maybe that would be better for him to be in a slot, like a little slot weapon. I think that's a better usage of his ability. That would be more familiarity with him. But he just says, now we're going to put just Cedric Wilson Jr. here. Why? So you could, switch it up a little bit. I don't know, man. All right. Brian says only Mickey he says only in Mickey kind he thinks a change won't come. Gil giving him the rope to himself. I've said this before, and I talked about this on the previous broadcast, fam. That I showed you the report about the people saying that they believe that Mickey Loomis that there's not going to be any change at the top of the organization, and that's really contingent upon you. That's contingent upon you, the mighty Who Dat Nation. People have to stay the course. They have to stay on game. They have to stay on square. They can't go back into supporting these people until true change happens. We won on the Dennis Allen front, but the war's not over. You won just a battle. You won a battle, but the war rages on. We have to be able to stick to our demands, and there needs to be changes at the top of the organization. They can't win like this. We done thoroughly exposed the Saints hierarchy. It is a complete joke. You got a president of football operations that don't know nothing about football on the field. The guy, Dennis Lauscher, that does not need to be his job anymore because he failed miserably and holding Mickey Loomis to any accountability for picking Dennis Allen, and then Dennis Allen fails, well, Gil has to fire him, and there is no chastisement of Mickey Loomis. He's still arrogant and flippant. Dennis Lauscher doesn't say anything. He just lets Mickey Loomis makes the decisions and bad decisions and tries to keep a losing coach. The team falling apart, the house burning down, and Dennis Lauscher doesn't come out and do anything. Doesn't say it takes Gil to do it. And she had to go past two people who she paying to do it. That guy don't need to be the president, man. That's the first thing that needs to change. He needs to get off that president's job and make him an accountant title somewhere and get the hell off the top of the team. But we need a football person there who played the game at a high level, who went through the NFL executive program, who can be a president of the team. That's who you pick, a guy like that. And then you move Mickey off the general manager position. Let him keep the VP, because you're not going to be able to, unless he retires or something like that, but he's not going anywhere. But you move him off the general manager. Those are the two simplest ways to do it. Just people movement. Lauscher off the president's job, create another title for him. Loomis off the GM job, give it to Kai Hartley. You already got Kai there. You got to find another guy to be the president. But that Dennis Lauscher dude don't know what he's doing, and this is not going to work. Because even though we get rid of Dennis Allen, who's to say this Mickey Loomis character won't hire another Dennis Allen type? He's not good at general manager. He's not doing his job. He's not doing evaluations. He's not staying on top of the team, and it will not work. The situation will repeat itself because you don't have any accountability at the top of the team. Dennis Lauscher is not accountable. He wasn't checking Mickey Loomis. He wasn't evaluating Mickey Loomis. He wasn't making sure Mickey Loomis was doing his job. Mickey Loomis, who's the GM too, who's a VP and GM, wasn't doing his job. He wasn't doing GM evaluations. He wasn't talking to no players. He was only talking to Dennis Allen. He wasn't talking to none of them players. And the team burning and falling through the flow. He's not talking to none of them players. He's taking everything the coach say at face value. He does not deserve to be the general manager after handling the situation that poorly. The stuff that happened last year with Jameis Winston and Dennis Allen falling out over the QB position and all that kind of stuff, or was that the year before, whatever it was, that was him too, not talking to nobody, going up there and standing there. That's not a general manager. A general manager usually general manages some shit. That's why they call him a general manager or her a general manager. They manage some shit. He only managed to allow stuff to fall apart and then speaks up for the coach, doesn't talk to the players. They said that, and I told y'all that guy don't talk to them players. He didn't talk to them at all. Even the reporter said that he don't talk to the player. What kind of dude is this? What kind of manager this is? So, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't carry forward with that. That has been wholly exposed by myself and others. I've been tearing down what they've been talking about because we need to have this right. This is all just set up to fail. Can't have a president of football operation that don't know shit about football on the field. That's a joke. You're a joke. You're a joke organization if you do that. So yeah, it's something needs to happen here, and that's not contingent on them. That's contingent on you. Just like you fired Dennis Allen over Mickey Loomis not wanting him to be fired. You fired him because you said he got to go, or we're not coming with the bread. She said, oh no, he's got to go. And I told y'all that. Nobody in that organization is more important than getting money from you. Not even Mickey Loomis. And he got 2 titles, the VP and GM, and none of them was stronger than your vote saying, hey, man, we want him out of there. Was it? Once again, I'm going to say it because the same people said the same thing about Dennis Allen ain't going nowhere. The Saints hadn't fired anybody since such and such. I said, man, that's just, you talking old stuff, man. This is a new age, man. This is a new time, and people not going for that no more. Told them it's a pendulum shift here. We're not going for that no more. This is the era where we know the power of our money, and we're not going to let you, we're not giving our hard-earned money to you. And if you sit up here putting up this garbage and this crap, we're not playing this no more. And people said, you know what, Q, you're right. We're going to ride. We ain't going down there. We ain't going there to do this type of thing. And it worked. So it's based on you. Keep making your demands. Keep making your demands. Says that Mickey Loomis needs to be removed from the GM. Create hashtag Kai Hartley for Saints GM. Hashtag Dennis Lauscher needs to be removed as president. Create another title for him. I'm not saying fire him from the team. Just recreate another position that's befitting of what he does. He's a businessman that tie up the business side of it for the Saints. He don't do nothing on the football side, meaning the actual player side and all this kind of stuff. That's not what he does. Thus, he doesn't need to be the president of anything. He don't need to be operate. Let him be the president of business affairs. Make him the president of business affairs or some bullshit like that. But in terms of football on the field, we need a real president of football operations here. Somebody that's not in the circle too. We need people from outside. We don't need circle people here. We need to tear this circle up. Stop reaching back to people you knew and go see if you can hire other guys that can return this stuff around, because you're living in the past too much. The Saints living in the past too much. And I can understand you even locking into a past where you won 4 or 5 or 6 Super Bowls, but you're trying to lock into something where you got one Super Bowl over a decade ago and you're trying to lock into that. Man, get out of here, man. Get out of here with that. No, what we do, we lock into football fundamental, which is accountability, and intelligent players and intelligent coaches that are accountable, a team that preaches accountability, but not only that, but actually participates in it, having people at the top that actually know football on the field, people that's engaged, having more of a committee approach to team development, as opposed to it being stuck to one stubborn old ass man who don't even talk to the players and talking about trying to win something. How you winning something? You don't even talk to the players. You're supposed to be the general manager. And the dude gets fleeced by people all the time. Now you hold on, when you make trades with the guy Roseman, you got to keep your hands in your pockets when he's around. No, you don't have to keep your hands in your pockets. You just have a freaking brain, man. You just got to have a goddamn brain. That's all. And keep your hands in your pockets when you're around Roseman. No, Roseman got a brain and you don't. That's the bottom flipping line. So, I mean, that's what it is to me, man. That's how you fix it. And as long that's based on you, they ain't based on what the hell they say, because they getting it all from you. See, that's the whole game. The game has been exposed. I've been exposing the game. I've been telling y'all that the game is not them. They get it. They got it like they're at the top. She got all that money from you. They don't have a printing press in there. They're getting the money from you. They're getting everything from you. So if you say no, then they in trouble. They're just counting on you collectively not coming together. That's how it's built. It's collectively built on, and it's deep stuff to it, but they practice that. But they based on you not being a collective. The people that never get together, and they're just too fractionalized, and they think, and a lot of times the people at the top, they ones responsible for that. They're the ones responsible. They can't. That's the only way to beat you. To have you thinking this, to have you thinking that, and they running the same shit. They running everything. You thinking it's different. This guy is different from that lady over there. They're the same. They both work for the same people. They're taking the same money from the same companies. But it's a game to make you believe it, and so that you get caught up in this whole BS. But the whole thing is to keep you not coming together. That's the whole point. That's like even when you get into some of these unions out here, these unions are corrupt. You got people in the unions that's fighting for you not to strike if something go wrong. Oh no, you can't do that. You can't. Oh no, we can't strike. Can't do that. I thought this was a union. The only power you have is the ability to withdraw your labor. Well, we can't do that, man. You know who that is when they tell you that bullshit. But yeah, man, as an organization, that's what it comes down to. We as an organization, as a people, we have to stand on game. We got Dennis Allen out of here, despite Mickey Loomis wanting to keep him. We got him up out of here, and we'll change some stuff. Just hold your ground and make your demands. All right. Arvin says the Saints pass rush might show up this game like last year when we played the Giants, just because the Giants O-line is terrible. Yeah, they're not a very good team. They're not. And that's why I was saying the Saints should practice a lot of things. a lot of things against the Giants, like iron out those wrinkles. We need to average 20-something points a game. It's about time. We got to figure out a way to get 21 points. Let's start like that. Can we do that? Can we just, like, in our minds collectively, just put in our minds as a team, look, man, we just got to try to see if we can get 21 points as fast as we can get it. You know, let's just get the 21 points. Let's get it and pile it, whatever. Let's just get it. You know, and then, you know, that kind of thing. I just don't know what they're doing, man. It's just, I don't know. Jack says, we aren't beating the Packers in the Commanders, season over. Arvin says that's possible. Q, the Giants are just as bad and made us look good last year. A lot of stuff going on, right? Yeah, it says the CEO thing is crazy. Pelosi inside trade. Yeah, they voted so they're allowed to inside trade. You can't do it though. I told you, man. It's a onion. Like, you peel away the levers of it. And that's why all this stuff is going on, because, man, there's so much stuff going on. There was and very few people realize this, that there was a martial law thing that was called in South Korea. Were you aware of that? That happened 2 days ago. Like, it was the people took, you know, threw the leader of South Korea out and took over. You know, did y'all hear about that? It's a lot of stuff that Americans are just not fixed to, man. A lot of them not dialed in. A lot of stuff going on right now, man. A lot of stuff going on right now. All right. Arvin says, I knew the fourth down when you need a car to deliver a game-winning drive against a good team, Carr will fail. When that happens, you got to take the ball out of his hands, because you got to understand the limitations of your people. And that's just what it is. Like, I knew it, and they knew it too. I got to give Kubiak credit for that, because in certain third down situations, he simply took the ball out of Carr's hand and put it in Taysom's hand. But with the Saints getting all 5 of their offensive line back, potentially, this should mean the Saints should be able to have a good running attack. We should be able to get it going. Now, of course, I expect them to be rusty, because this will be the first time they played together in a while. But the Saints should get all 5 starters that they started the year off with, should get them back, right? So that'll be interesting. That would definitely be interesting. All right. Elijah says, hold on, Q. Word on the streets that Gail might move on from Mickey. Plus, how much can she take 4 years without a playoff appearance? I think she would definitely make some changes. I'm agreeing with you on that. I'm saying that in terms of, I don't know, I wouldn't say that she would, like, move on from Mickey, like fire Mickey Loomis off of the team. I wouldn't get into that thinking. Me personally, I think the way is because he has job security. That's why he did that. He got the VP and GM job. That's job security. You got to fire him twice, right? But I don't think they fire him as a VP. I think they just take the GM title away from him and give it to Kai, the guy he trained. Kai Hartley's ready to lead the team into the next, into the future of the Saints. I think he's ready. So, yes, you just strip him of the GM job. That neutralizes Mickey Loomis right there, because, you know, we could say a lot of negative things about Loomis, but the one thing you can't say is that he's a meddler. He doesn't meddle. He doesn't meddle in your business. He doesn't look over your shoulders. He's not that type of guy. That's the one very positive thing I could say about Mickey Loomis, that he's not a meddler. He doesn't get all in your business. He basically goes in his office and closes the door and say, hey, the team is yours. And then he will spin lies for you. He'll try to protect you and do all that stuff, which he's not supposed to do when the guy is failing. But he will do that. That's his MO. But yeah, I don't think they fire him from the VP job, because he's not a bad VP. He's just a shitty general manager that doesn't need to be doing his business. But Dennis Lauscher is the biggest problem. Don't get lost on just Loomis. Dennis Lauscher is his boss. We cannot get lost on Lauscher. Lauscher needs to be moved off the president's job. You need to have a committee approach at the top, more football IQ at the top of this team. The same with the Pelicans. It's the same thing, man. That's why both the teams are failing. The hierarchy of the team is bad. It sucks. A lot of these teams are winning. They got more of a boardroom approach, where they got multiple guys, football, high IQ guys, in football or basketball at the top of the team. And they have more of a committee approach in deciding the moves of the team, as opposed to it be funneled to one person who has to make the say. You see? Nah, and you have a job there. You have some consultation right there, but none of you think who's consultating Mickey Loomis? You think people telling Mickey Loomis what to do? Nobody ain't telling Mickey Loomis what to do. And there is no plan. So if he screws up, he just slides on to the next thing. That's how David Griffin's doing the Pelicans. Where is the evaluator to step in and say, hey, hold on, let me check you out for this year and see what's going on? If you don't have accountability and evaluations going on, this guy can just slide this shit everywhere until it's nothing. You got to have somebody there, and you got to be checking. And more often we find that we're the people that's doing it. And we have to check these people all the time because they're not anybody else checking them in the building. So, yeah, you ain't saying nothing wrong, Elijah. Shout out to you. Chantel, what's poppin', Chantel? Much love, Queen. Appreciate you. Says Q, hope you're having a great night. I am having a great night. Same to you, Chantel. Hope everything is well with you up there. Much love. All right. All right. Jack says, Q, you open the curtain on these fools and keep it up. We getting, yeah, man. I've done that, fam. I've been batting at these people. I've made Mickey Loomis basically into a cartoon character. Oh, hold on now. You see, people don't even know who he is. And from other people, they laugh and they laugh and everything because, I done turned them into a comedy act because it's to bring light to what's going on here. There's a change that needs to happen. They're reaching to the past too much. We need to change this around, man. They reach into a past and you ain't won nothing well over a decade. They are proud of that one championship. They've built billions of dollars off that one trophy. They hadn't even come close to, well, you look at the Rams matchup, it's probably the closest they did to it. And Sean Payton really blamed himself for that. But outside of that, the Saints they don't preach about winning championships. They don't talk about winning those Super Bowls. The coaches don't talk about winning those Super Bowls. They don't put that pressure on them. They don't want none of that smoke. They want to cruise along and make money. They found a way to kind of, as long as we make the playoffs, they should be happy. Just make the playoffs. That's the whole point. Mickey Loomis just like, hey man, let's just make the playoffs and that'll be good enough. Just make the playoffs. That's all we need to do. Just get a playoff berth and we can do it. And nope. It's not good enough no more. You're not going to appease us with no one playoff trip and you won and done, man. It take more than that. And now with the team, they done squandered away all of the time that they had the DeMarios and the Cams. All of this is going haywire. So you got this year and next year to try to compete for a championship, and that's what Mickey Loomis is trying to hold on to. But it's up to you. You'll shake all that loose. What's up, Grizzo? Shout out to you, man. OG, I see you, fam. Yeah, but it's just what it is, fam. It is what it is. All right, Officer 5000 says if they switch Rattler and Carr doing different plays, it would have helped. Yeah, I got you, brother. You roll them out there, and do they stop doing the Taysom type plays? I know Taysom not there, what I'm saying, but do they throw Rattler in there? Do they run Hayner out there to kind of mix it up a bit with Derek Carr? Because they often do that because Carr, to a degree, still don't know much of the offense, right? He makes some of the plays and the throws, but he be off on some of this stuff. So I'm like I said, I'm not trying to take Derek Carr and turn him into nothing that he isn't. I know what Derek Carr is. He's a play action quarterback. I would just try to teach him like, hey man, when you see something out there, take off. Because he can move. He ain't Lamar Jackson, but he got a pair of wheels. He'll run and do that. If you don't see nothing, don't try to force the ball or throw the ball. Try to run, take off. Slide, take off and slide. If it, take off and run and slide. That type of thing. We hand the ball. Hopefully, I think we'll run the ball against the Giants. If we can keep doing what we're doing and building on that, we'll have some success. But the big thing is they get these linemen back. They get their starters back for the offensive line against the Giants. That should help you against the Commanders and the Packers. It should. Why? Because you should be able to run the ball. You should. And as long as you can run the ball, you'll have a chance. You'll have a chance to win the game. That's God's honest truth. The five starters are back for this game. The offensive linemen, because Lucas Patrick and McCoy should be back, along with Cesar Ruiz. He's word on the street. He should be good for this game. So if that's the case, you'll have your 5 starters that you started the year off with. You'll have them for this game, which means that's why I was saying in the preview, the game breaking down the keys to victory for the Saints is they need to kind of open up that the book that we seen in the first week or two. I know Chris Olave is not there, but you got to use what you have. You know, you got to use what you have, and hopefully we can get Chris Olave back, keep these starting 5 offensive linemen there, and if we can run the ball, we got a shot. We got a shot against the Commanders, because if you can run the ball, we can get into play action. If we can get into play action, we can get downfield. We can strike them. You know, my only thing is, like I said, my only thing is, if you know, it's a big if with Chris Olave coming back, but if he comes back, he helps. That's why I was pushing for the Saints to continue to look in for agency and practice squads and find other veteran wide receivers to bring in here to help us to keep going forward. They didn't do none of that shit. They just stayed with what they have. And I think that's a problem. And that's a big problem of why the Saints are a 4-win ball club. They don't do enough. You can't sit on your hands where when you're a hurt team and you got all this stuff going on and say, well, we're going to just rock with this, that, and the third. You don't have that luxury. With 5 games left and you're a 4-win team, you don't have that luxury. You got to turn over every rock. You got to go over here. You got to keep moving and shaking. You got to keep people coming in and out of this organization. You got to move bum ass players off the team and bring people here that can help. Why is Cedric Wilson still here? I keep asking that question. Why is Ali Udo still here? I mean, not Ali. Ali Udo. Why is he still here? We need to keep moving people in here. They have veterans that are available that can help. We should have in the bye week had those guys on the team. Didn't do none of that. Are we good here? Don't make any changes on to the play callers. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It's a lot to overcome. They just don't do enough adjusting, man. I just don't understand, man. I don't get it. There's only so many places you can look to find out what's wrong with your team. It's only so many places. We'll see. We should hammer the Giants. I'm just going to be honest. I think we'll beat the Giants. And that should give us some confidence as long as they can keep these 5 linemen together, because they keep getting hurt, you know, in and out the entire season. We don't have any good backups to come in there and help out them guys getting hurt. So you got to keep going, finding more people. That's the game. You got to keep finding more people. We know Nick Saldiveri got a knee issue. You know, we got to find another lineman. We got to keep more linemen moving in here. That's the way you do it. You got to keep more people coming to the team, you know, getting rid of bum ass players and getting good ones here. You got to go through it. All right. Can you too? He says, I don't either will be going anywhere. Loomis best chances hitting on another Peyton Breeze combo. You know how rare that is. I don't see that happening, bro. I don't see him hitting on no Breeze, especially when he doesn't want to get rid of Derek Carr. Derek Carr he doesn't want to get rid of Derek Carr. John says, do you think Kai has the football knowledge we need for a GM? I absolutely think he does. I believe he does, John. Kai has been there for a while. He's been there for a long time. He has a lot of people, even if you listen to Mickey Loomis, he has them in high regard. He's definitely ready to be a general manager in the NFL. He definitely has the knowledge. He knows how to grab the contracts. He's a guy that everybody likes. He's highly intelligent. He would definitely do a good job at general manager. Yeah, yes, I have no doubts about him being a solid GM for us. Plus, he's a guy that came up through the building. He's like Fontenot, much like Fontenot, who went to the Falcons. I think he'll do an excellent job at the general manager position. I really do. Jack says, Sheila came in 2020 and turned the organization around immediately and found management that knows football. She went outside the circle, blew it up. Gail need to learn and find some that can. There were reports that when Dennis Allen got fired, that she does have her own people. They made mention in the reports, Gail's group. Go look at the reports. I covered it. I was reading from the reports when the article covered. I did a flash report on it. The report says Gail's group. And then they made a separation between Mickey Lauscher without saying it. You get what I'm saying? Because it was Mickey Loomis did not want to fire him, and Gail and her group, because it's not Gail doing this by herself. She has her people, you know. And what I was saying was, it's a good thing that happened, because what it did, it created a fracture just a small one, but it could become a big one. It's becoming a big one of trust in Mickey Loma's direction for the team. Prior to that, there was no issue. This is the first time recorded that you've seen something like this happen, and that was due to your pressure. Your pressure created the fractures in the relationship because it forced her and her people to look at the team without Mickey Loma sitting up there wanting them to burn. He basically self-sabotaging the Saints. He wanted to keep the saboteur coach on top of the team. They falling through the floor, and he advocating for him to keep them. He lost a lot of credibility to not just the Who Dat Nation, but a lot of people professionally when he did that. Then he began to go out and talk about Dennis Allen as a great coach. At one point when the man fired, just stop talking about him. He gone. But he continued to say like he made a good decision. Like he's a great coach. I didn't make a bad decision. It was all injuries. That's why it was failing. No, it wasn't. James Hurst came on the air and James Hurst was talking about it. James Hurst said in the interview, I played it here on the Coma, that he thought last year that Mickey Lomas, after the Atlanta Falcon game, the last one of the season when, with all that happened with the Falcons, he thought he was going to fire him then. And he went in the locker room and didn't fire him and basically had his back and talk crap to the players and told them they're not going to be comfortable. I'm not going to make that was the I'm not going to let you be comfortable speech. Well, these guys are too comfortable. And it wasn't them at all. It's your goof ass. And that's what I'm saying. It showed you that the guy really is, the game's way beyond him. At the very least, the game is far beyond him. It's just facts, man. This team is a joke because it's ran like a joke at the top. You can't have a guy that's the president of no football. Come on, Max says, Q, what do you think of changing the scouting department? I'm for it too. I think the thing there's plenty enough data that we've seen. The Saints have not drafted well as of late. Now, we did good with Brian Brissett. That was a good solid pickup. Kool-Aid McKinstry is going to help us. But we have a lot of other issues from players. And look at the defensive drafts we had, the defensive ends we drafted. And Davenport, who we passed up Lamar Jackson for, by the way. That's the most stupidest thing I've seen the Saints do in a long time. They had a chance to get Lamar Jackson, passed on him for Davenport, who immediately the next day had thumb surgery. So they drafted him hurt. And that was a bad omen, and he spent a lot of time hurt. Now we got Peyton Turner here, who they drafted because they thought he was like Davenport. And boy, they wasn't lying. So he's going to get ready to get off the team. And then they got a second-round draft pick in Isaiah Foskey, who just can't seem to find any time to get there. He's not making any waves. Perhaps he will show up next year. But Foskey from Notre Dame's another guy. We hadn't been able to develop these guys. So now they hit on undrafted guys. That's why if you look at the team has a bunch of undrafted players that excel and do really well. I mean, Rashid Shaheed was undrafted. He's a Pro Bowler. You got who else? Juwan Johnson, undrafted. It's so many undrafted players that's on the team that's helping the Saints out. Granderson is probably one of the biggest ones we got right now. Carl Granderson was undrafted. He's just starting defensive end. He beat out 2 first-round draft picks to be the defensive end. He's an undrafted guy, Carl Granderson. You got Hugo Amadi's an undrafted guy helping you out at the nickel position. You got various undrafted guys as depth at special teams. JT Gray was a Pro Bowler. He was also an undrafted guy. So, I mean, it's a ton of undrafted players the Saints have picked up that's really done some positive stuff on. We've hit there because we got a reputation of giving opportunities to undrafted players. You come in a good chance if you hammer, you make you do what you're supposed to do. It's a good chance you can earn a starting job in New Orleans because the undrafted guys are super cheap and they're low risk, high reward type of players. You got 2 undrafted kickers and punter. You got a kicker and punter that's undrafted. So you see what I'm saying? So they hit there, but the draft, they hadn't really been hitting well on the draft. So yeah, you definitely have to look at the scouting department and go from there, man. Because Jeff Ireland has done a pretty decent job, but man, it's been falling off the cliff. The draft part of it has not really worked as well as we liked it to work, So yeah, when you are 4-8 team, you got to look at everything, right? You really do. And I think they really need to stop trying to tie to the past so much, man. They need to start being more forward thinking. Stop this past crap. Stop looking back all the time, man. We're going to go reach back and see if we can find something else, man. We need something else here. Yeah. Yeah. Arvis says the college scouting part needs to go. We haven't hit on draft picks since 2017. We turned around. Our team in 2017 proves the drafting can immediately improve a team. John says, good. That was my biggest concern about Kai, was worried he wasn't another accountant. No, he has that background, but he's a guy that is very intelligent. He knows what he's doing, and he's a guy that's well liked. But that was, the thing is, like, it's a promotion, it's a hire from within, because he's a guy that was immersed in the Saints culture, but he's not a Mickey Loomis type. Mickey Loomis is arrogant, he's self-centered, and like I said, you can't be the general manager and be detached. And he's just not. It ain't working, man. We need something else. Jack says Ireland is one of the circle guys who needs to go. Yeah, we need to shake this up, man. They want to keep all these talking about continuity and all that, man. The hell with that, man. We got to shake all this loose, man. You need a change there. You need to change. This whole thing needs to be changed up. And they understand they have to make big changes. People, they know that the public's trust in Mickey Loomis' direction of the team is out of here. Even Kat Terrell got on television and she said to people that the Saints would have to sell. Did she use hope? Y'all heard that interview. I played it here. I want to say she used hope, that she said that they would have to sell hope. And I paused. I said, if the Saints was winning, they wouldn't have to sell shit. The bottom line is, we're not going to fall for that no more. I mean, they expect you not to have a memory. They think they can just throw a bunch of bullshit at you and you be like, oh, wow, I can't remember what I did yesterday. No, I remember. Shit, you got phones that record. You got devices. You can go and look back yesterday what happened. You don't have to you don't have to totally just be stuck on what you can write stuff down. You got a phone that you can put stuff in. You can just go back and look up whatever you want to know really fast. You can just Google it with your phone very fast. A smartphone's supposed to make you smart, I thought. But the thing is, man, like I said, they don't think you have a memory. You can't sell an inferior product to people. People are not going to be excited about the Saints in 2025 if Mickey Loomis is still in, if the change at the top doesn't happen. Because if they don't change who's making the decisions, then it won't change. We know that the Mickey Loomis timeline is a flawed timeline because his decision making with the contracts has destroyed the team for the next 3 years. You can't compete in free agency. You need to go into free agency to sign people away from other teams to build your team. You need all three aspects to improve your team, whether that's free agency, draft, the undrafted market. You need all three of those things to improve your team. You really do. That's how, and if you do it well, a team that does it well, team goes from a bad team to a really good team the following year. We've seen that happen. We've seen that happen with the Houston Texans when D'Amico Ryan stepped in the building. He stepped in there and it was a dumpster fire. He stepped in there the next year. The team not only got better, but they made the playoffs. The following year, it's now the floor has been elevated so high now that, that they believe that you forgot, as of recently, that they were a dumpster fire more than 2 years ago. They were a laughingstock team. Not anymore. The Texans have D'Amico Ryans there, and they're contenders. Their first year, not only did they go to the playoffs, they won a playoff game in their first year. And it's like, it's possible, but you have to use all three aspects to improve the team. You got to have free agency, you got to have draft, and then you got to do the undrafted thing. You do those things well, you can change the aura of your team over an entire season and go from a losing ass garbage dumpster fire team to a perennial playoff team. In 1 year, we've seen it happen all the time. Look what Coach Campbell did with Detroit. Detroit was a laughingstock team. It took him a couple years or so, but he got up there and took that team and turned them into one of the best teams, the best team in the NFC. That's Detroit. Detroit been losing for years. That man went up there and turned them people around. So they don't, and he came from down here. So it's not like these people or don't exist, they were in the franchise. How did we let them get out of here? Because you have a dumbass on top of the team. You have a stupid, blind, arrogant, fake elitist ass jackass that's sitting on top of the team, thinking his moves are the best for the team. And they're not. They're destroying the team. So, I mean, I keep telling them they just gonna keep losing money until they learn, man. I hope they learn. JT says, Q, you took the words right out. My Mickey should go for getting the talent scouts and picking 4 bad number 1. Yeah, he is. That's the point. The point is there is no faith in the Saints as long as Mickey Loomis is on top of the team making the decisions. Everybody knows what he's done. He's destroyed the cap for the Saints. He has no vision on which direction the team needs to go. It's no common sense to nothing that he's doing. He paid Pete Werner before he paid Alvin Kamara. That shouldn't have happened. That's not how this shit's supposed to go. And I was like, what is this guy doing? He doesn't have a plan. He just goes along. That's why I was like, nah, you got to go, bro. And what I mean by go, he has to be stripped of the title, of the GM title. It's bottom line. The people not going to buy no Saints tickets next year. Looking at the Saints and Mickey Loomis still making the decisions, they understand that. They know that. That's the biggest issue they have going forward. We're not going to be buying no tickets as long as Mickey Loomis is making the decisions for the Saints because he doesn't know what he's doing. That is very clear now. It is super clear. I'm not talking nothing wrong. Everything I'm saying is 100% facts. The guy doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't. Dennis Lauscher, who's the president of the team, don't know what he's doing. And Dennis Lauscher is the same dude that runs the Pelicans. He's president. He's a double president. He's the president of the Pelicans and he's the president of the Saints. How the hell does that work when he don't know shit about the Pelicans or the Saints? How is he the president of these teams? How is that a good move? How does that any of that make sense? And then you hire one guy and then you over rely on him to make the decisions with no oversight. With no oversight. What happens in government when you don't have any oversight? You end up having intelligence organization creating coups all over the world under the guise that they're doing it for democracy with no oversight. People just run and do whatever they want to do with no oversight. They're stealing money. They're doing all this. They're lying about it with no oversight. If you got to have oversight, that's accountability. That's pretty much what that is. That's how it's designed. If you don't do that, man, man, listen. You doing that, you got a goddamn banana republic on your hands. That's what that is. You got to have accountability, man. Without any accountability, man, you don't have nothing. Guys can do whatever they want to do, man. You got a banana republic is what you got. It won't work. John says drafting D is a big weakness for us right now. I wouldn't mind getting away from the prototypes. Max says, Q, you think it's possible Mickey retire soon? He said he's not going to retire, bro. He said that last year. He believes that he can do it for another 10 years. He literally said that. He said that in the press conference because they asked him. Matter of fact, it was Cat Terrell who asked him, well, Mickey, there's some rumors circulating around. Oh, they just made that up. That's exactly what he said in the same energy as he said it. That's exactly what he said. He said it verbatim, what I just said, the way I said it. Exactly. Oh, that just made that up. That's just like that. I can go for another 10 years. I'm not, how? There's no oversight. Guy can do whatever he wants to do. Where's the oversight? Where's the accountability? There's none. It's not going to work. Big Valley says they're going to keep Rizzy. I feel like no matter what, he's a player in it, man, because if Mickey Loomis making a decision, you could be very well right. He's a player in it. They'll do another fake hiring situation when they'll go and talk to a bunch of people. And they could circle back to Darren Rizzi. Because he would agree to keep the timeline. Let's just be honest. Nobody's trying to hire Darren Rizzi to be no coach nowhere. He'd be a special teams guy. He'll go back to being a special teams guy. But there's nobody looking to make Darren Rizzi a head coach. This is his only chance to be a head coach, an interim coach, and a long shot to be a head coach. Now, if he wants it straight up, he gets the team to the playoffs. If he gets the team to the playoffs, then he earns the head coaching job. That's a tall order, though, you see. But at the end of the day, the Saints still have to be able to go through the due diligence of interviewing coaches and talking to people. And who would be doing this? Who would be the decision maker doing this? Because I didn't like how they did it the last time with Dennis Allen. He interviewed all these people, and it was a sham, and they were going to hire Dennis Allen all the time. So they wasted all these people time just to circle back to him. See, there is no trust in Mickey Loomis running this process. Earl says, "What's up, Earl? Shout out to you, brother." Yeah, not quite, Max. We gonna see, y'all. Things gonna change. We got to change. Officer 5000 said they didn't want a Negro QB start. They don't want a black quarterback. How old are you, brother? Officer 5000 Mad Bar. How old are you, brother? I ain't heard the term Negro in 10 years, man. How old are you, sir? How old are you? All right. What's up, Brent? Shout out to my dude, Brent, man. Appreciate you. Yeah. Feeling kind of drafty. Yeah. The whole thing is, okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. I thought you would put another 10 years on that, brother. Maybe another 20 years on that. I got you, brother. I understand, man. I'm just messing with you. But yeah, this is the thing, though. I wouldn't be, I wouldn't look at it too bad. Like a lot of people look at it as bad, such. But, like I said, sometimes you got to go through this because it's the growth, what you call it, growing pains. I said, but Q, we only got 4 wins. But yeah, we would do this anyway. The goal was either one way or the other. Either you get to the playoffs or you don't. This is the 4th straight year that the Saints could be missing the playoffs. If they miss it for a 4th straight year, you need sweeping changes. So Mickey's going to argue to keep the timeline, which is the 2025 and 2026 season, to not spend a lot of money, such and such. Fam, listen. The only way out of the situation is in 3 years, the great deal of the contract money falls off the books because all of these guys will be gone. In 3 years, you'll have a brand new team here. 3 years, Derek Carr's gone. All these guys, DeMario is gone. Cam's gone. Taysom's gone. Tyrann Mathieu's gone. All of these, and this is where the money is. The money is on these guys. The Ryan Ramczyk contract should be gone. All of the funny money, a great deal of the dead money. In 3 years, a lot of that falls off the books. You would get roughly about $200 million or more in cap because you have a brand new team. All of these guys they have the big hefty money. All of those guys will be off the team. You'll have a brand new team in 3 years. So the only way out of cap hell in terms of what Mickey Loomis is doing is to follow this course. Any other way, it'd be incredibly difficult for you to do because he designed it that way. He designed the obstacle monetarily speaking, where he sold out the future for the present, and the present is not getting you anything. So it's gone. So you cannot reverse course. Now you can begrudgingly find somebody to come in here and they can be create ways to kind of do it, but you still have to rework agreements to open up money so you can compete at 3 levels. Now, if you don't do any of that, or you rework a certain amount of deals to free up just enough money, because remember, it's not like you just $10 million under the cap. You're going to be, when it's all said and done and the league raises the money, you could be facing a $45 million pitfall. You could be $45 million in the red. You would then have to rework contracts to free up just to get out of the red back into the black. And once you get to the black, the line, just when you get right to it, you got to rework again to get you ahead into the black so that you can then be able to compete in free agency and sign your draft picks. So you would have to rework more contracts, and that extra money then kicks into the following year. And in that following year, you'll have $50 to $60 million in cap relief according to over the cap's numbers or calculations currently. So that number will drop too. Once you kick that money from 24, 25, you rework it, then you go to 25, 25, 26, whatever, to the 25th year, and you rework that money, that goes into 26. So you still kicking, but the can ultimately ends in 2020, 3 years from now, 24, 25, 26. And then you'll have the $200 million free because all these guys will be gone. Then a great deal of their money will be gone. You'll still have some on there, but a lot of that dead money would have been fell off. You have a lot of money, but you have a brand new team. So he would have to make you, and see, that's the thing. It'll be a tough sell for them to break away and say, hey man, listen, whatever coach you got to get, he got to understand those ramifications. He got to understand that he's going to be coaching. If he takes the Saints job, he's not going to have a lot of money to work in free agency. So he can access free agency to be able to get the players that he would like. The draft picks, he'll be able to draft, but the money in terms of free agency would suffer. He would have to have that attached to him for the first couple of years of his administration. He would then he couldn't get the quarterback that he wants because he would be then fixated and locked in financially with Derek Carr. What if he wants a different quarterback? Well, you got to work with Derek Carr. The Saints can't get rid of Derek Carr. They can cut him, but you would take an astronomical cap hit that'll impact you that year. So it's, and plus you would then have to go into free agency, which you would be in a minus on from a monetary standpoint, to find another quarterback who would want to come down there and play for you. You see what I'm saying? So it's a bunch of stuff that will have to go in. All the while you would have Mickey Loomis fighting you every step of the way to not let that happen. So it's not like you have a guy that's like, listen, I made a mistake. Let me see if we can navigate out of this to greener pastures, to bluer skies. No, I know what I'm doing. Oh, I know what I'm doing. You just listen. Hold on now. Just stay right here. We're gonna hold on now. We'll be fine. Hold on. That's his mentality. He will fight you tooth and nail on that because he believes this is the path, that this is the way. I'm telling y'all the truth, fam. This is 100% facts. This is what they've been saying. This is how you get out of cap hell. The Saints are going to have difficulties finding a new coach because who's going to take the job like that? You got Aaron Glenn there. Maybe Aaron Glenn takes the job. But any coach, but they'll have other teams with a lot better environments. You'll have teams that have higher draft picks, teams that have more money, teams that have, more control over your team and which direction you have, because very few coaches want to come to a team where they can't maneuver the way they want to. They don't want to do that. Only coaches you get is Willie Green, like the Pelicans got. Only a desperate coach that will sell his soul to go and be a head coach of the Pelicans when the general manager / VP, which is David Griffin, telling you that you could take the job, but I pick all of your assistant coaches. That's what he told him. That's why Jacques Vaughn turned it down. That's why a bunch of other coaches that they wanted to get a job to turned it down, because he told them that he wanted to pick his coaches. I got to pick your coaches. Guy like, what? No, I pick my own goddamn coaches. You know what? You can have it back. And Willie Green said, yep, I'll take it. Because Willie Green knew he would never have been a head coach in the professional if it wasn't for the Pelicans. And if he don't get his shit straight and start winning some more games, he's going to lose that very fast, because Pelican side of things are getting very impatient. So I'm telling you, man, it's some strange things going on nowadays, right? All right. Earl says, Q, you think Rizzy will get a chance and a legit shot for head coach? Do you want him as our next HC next year? I like Rizzy, but I think a lot of people starting to watch the honeymoon fade. You get that honeymoon period, the first couple of games. But then you want to see, outside of him just being passionate and cursing at people, you want to see some strategy. You want to see some adjustments, offensively speaking, because we done adjusted, you done made changes to every other side, special teams, defense, but done nothing to the offense. And you see there's a problem with the offense, but you do nothing to the offense. You don't give the guy underneath, give the running game coordinator a little bit more power to call plays, to see if things change up. That type of stuff. Do something from a play caller perspective. Don't just sit up there and watch the shit fall apart and stink and be like, it'll get better. No, actually do something. Get in there and start messing around with some stuff. See what works here. Change it up like you did on the defense. Do something like that offensively speaking. Do a little something. I like Rizzy. But like I said, he got the interim title. But the only way I believe that he should be a head coach for the Saints is if he gets them to the playoffs. If he doesn't do that, then you go right into the hiring cycle, and you go and do your research and see if you can find you a guy with some experience at the head coach level that can talk to people, that's accountable, that's a high IQ individual, and you do that. You see if you can find you guy. And I think we could find us one in the hiring cycle. But for him getting the job, I think he would have to take the team to the playoffs. That way he earns the job. That means that he did something that the two previous dudes couldn't do within the last several years. That's to get the team to the playoffs, despite the fact that they had a 7-game losing streak, and he still was able to take it as an interim coach to the playoffs. I think that should earn him a job. But any other way, if that don't happen, I think you hit the off season and you see if you can find you a coach. To be honest with you, and I'm pretty sure if he doesn't get the head coaching job, if you're a coach, I would definitely hire Rizzi as my special teams coordinator. Special teams coordinator. I would definitely do that. But that's just my thought process on it. Max says, I'm fully convinced we end up like the Jets, 13 straight years, no playoffs. I don't know. I don't think so, bro. I don't think we're going to tolerate that. The Jets people still, to a great degree, are supporting the Jets. And Woody, the guy that Woody Johnson dude just doesn't know what he's doing. He's screwing up the team really bad. We kind of have the opposite. We got a general manager doing it. It's tough when the owner's doing it, because how do you fix that when your owner's tearing up everything? We got an owner that's an ambassador. That's in the one that's doing it is the general manager, VP dude. We could fix that easier than the owner, right? What could you do if you the Cowboys and you got Jerry Jones tearing up everything? What could you do? Seriously, except for not support the team and tell him, hey man, listen, you're not going to do it. But Dallas is a little different because Jerry's not totally relying on Dallas Cowboy money. He got his own stadium and he makes money off of that stadium. So he's not totally controlled by the purse strings of the football going public. See, he found a way around it. He built his own building. You see what I'm saying? You see the business here? Gail is relying off of state-funded and city-funded buildings that were built by the taxpayers, which means you have power over that situation. There is not any real world that you're supposed to live in where if your tax dollars built a structure that a $1 billion company, which is the Saints or the Pelicans, come in, take advantage of the building, meaning that they make tens of billions of dollars off the building, and the taxpayers who built these buildings and structures don't get nothing for that. That's not supposed to how that. That's not how it's supposed to go. You're supposed to get something from that. You're supposed to get something from that. You get nothing. You don't get no deals on none of the merch. You don't get no free tickets. You don't get none of that. You're supposed to get something out of that deal. We let them go too far. That's real. That's real spill. We supposed to be getting something out of that. Jack says, maybe not a cancer, but someone you don't. Wilson's a good guy, but hard to have a rookie start over someone jumping to get on the field. Earl says, Q, who do you think we have? Do you think we have enough weeks left this season to evaluate him? What, Rizzi? Who you referencing, Earl? Who you mean? Who you referring to? Evaluate who? Irvin said the closest organization resembling Breeze and Peyton led the Saints is the Bengals right now. Joey B is playing like an MVP, but his defense is playing so bad. What's up, brother Tragic? How you doing, man? Shout out to you. Earl says, and what the hell is up with the lack of our run defense? The Saints keep running the same people out there. I kept saying, fam, well, listen, Passanio should help. If they play him internally, like he should help you there. That's why I was really happy. I was like saying it before they even dropped the news about it. I was like, man, because I knew the timeline, he was supposed to come back around this time. He wasn't totally done for the year. He got hurt way early. And the timeline was he was supposed to come back around this time. So before all the stuff came out about Passanio ramped up, I was talking about him like, listen, if Tanu Passanio comes back, he helps you there because they'll just deactivate probably, John Ridgeway, probably deactivate him and move Tanu Passanio in there. And Passanio helps. Him and Brian Bresee would be really solid additions. But the Saints, man, they're struggling. And Colin Saunders, man, he's not looking good in there, man. Colin Saunders is not looking good, man. Not consistently. You know, like when we brought Colin Saunders here and Nate Shepard, I knew eventually Nate Shepard would be a rotational defensive end, but he's still starting. I don't know why they're not starting Brian Bresee. And they're saying because, you know, people believe that he's not as good as run stuffer as he's supposed to be. I don't care about any of that. That's up to him and the defensive lineman coach to get him together. He's a first-round draft pick. He should be starting there. So whether they put Saunders down or Shepard down, I don't care. Bresee should be in there starting. He should be in there starting. And a lot of times the run defense for the Saints, now they did some spot work. But when teams make their mind up, like what the Rams did when they made their mind up to run Kylan Williams and Blake Corum at the Saints, them little shark guys they just bullied the Saints. When I seen that, I would have pulled them guys because somebody got to draw a double team. If it's not Saunders to Shepard, somebody got to draw a double team. That allows linebackers like Pete Werner and Demario Davis to stay clean. Somebody got to draw a double team. If you're not drawing a double team, that other lineman is going to shed off of that defensive lineman and go right to Demario, go right to Pete Werner, put his hands on him, push him on out the way. You best believe that running back following him or wherever he goes. So somebody got to command a double team, and we should have made the move before. I don't understand why they're not starting Brian Bresee. He got 6.5 sacks, and that's as a reserve guy. I mean, I don't understand what they waiting on. He should have started by now. I mean, he the best thing you got inside there. He is as a rotational guy. He got 6 sacks. Is it 6.5 or 6 sacks? I forget. Let me look it up right quick. For Brian Bresee. Brian Bresee is leading the team in with sacks as a reserve defensive lineman. I'm like, why is this guy not starting? Why is he not starting? Because these other guys ain't doing nothing. Hold on here. 6.5 sacks. Dude got 6.5 sacks. 1 forced fumble on 12 tackles as a reserve defensive lineman. So I don't know why he's not starting, but it's just what it is at this point. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's change needs to happen there, man. Max says Howie Roseman should be the blueprint on how to manage the team properly. Mickey needs to take notes. Mickey Loomis he ain't gonna do that, bro. He ain't gonna do that. The D-line coach is Brian Young. Brian Young was promoted from pass rush specialist to defensive line coach. They demoted Todd Grantham. That's one of the moves that Darren Rizzi did when he came in. He demoted the defensive line coach and promoted Young as the defensive line coach. Put Joe over the top of the defense. Mayfield Galliano, the special teams coach, added a long-time person that he knew as his assistant and did nothing with the offense. So the offense is straight. I'm like, no, you screwed up there. You should have kept moving. Bresee should be the star. Shepard, Saunders stink. Bresee needs to be. Yeah, them guys are struggling mightily. That's why it looks like that. Yeah, and it's just, yeah, like I said, man, against the Giants, it should work. But like you get your 5 starters back against the Giants, we start getting back into what we got going on. Hopefully that brings in the double and triple motion stuff that we seen early on. Hopefully it brings it does some of that. Now I know we don't have Rashid, we don't have Chris Olave, we got MVS, but we got to find a way to make some of these other guys work. The Saints didn't do anything, didn't go out into free agency and see if they can bring somebody in here during the bye week. They didn't do none of that. They just rocking with these guys, so we got to make them work, right? But yeah, it's very interesting, man, how we got going on. Big Valley said we should move Bresee to defenseman and just have him mainly as a passer. I thought he was a good. I don't know. I don't know about doing that with Brian Bresee. I think his best value is him being an interior defensive force because we're not having a lot of that going on. It seems like he's the only one that's really putting pressure on him from an internal standpoint because we need pressure everywhere, right? not just the edges, but the really good pressures up the face and right in front of the face of the quarterback to flush him out to the edges. And that is what he's obviously doing. So I wouldn't want to move him as a to put him on the defensive end. I think we need that internal pressure just as well as we need the external stuff on the edges. So yeah, I see what you're saying, is athletic ability and all that, but that's actually pretty damn good to have 6.5 sacks. We still got 5 games left. Is it possible that he can get any more sacks? How many sacks do you guys think that he'll get before the end of the year with 5 games left? He got 6.5. Could he get the 9 or 10 sacks? What do y'all guys think? What you think? You think we can get the 9 or 10 sacks, Brian Brissy? That would be pretty awesome, to be honest with you. That would be pretty awesome. Max says cut Chase Young this offseason. He hasn't earned a big contract extension. I don't think the Saints are going to cut him. They don't need to cut him because he only has a one. It's no cut involved, Max. He's on a 1-year deal, so his contract expires at the end of the year, so they don't need to cut him. But I think it's a telltale sign that he could be coming back on contract extension because the Saints had a chance to trade him before the trade deadline, because people was inquiring about him and Marshawn Lattimore, and he declined. They traded Lattimore and declined to trade Chase Young, which could mean that the Saints have a contract extension on the table for him. And it wouldn't be a surprise because the Saints don't have a defensive end to replace him there. So, you failed drafting 2 guys, and Isaiah Foskey is not ready to take over the job. So you kind of penciled in with Chase Young. So I think the Saints are definitely going to re-sign him. I think they're definitely going to bring him back at least. Yeah. He says, Officer 5000 said they have to win every game and hope again. But see, the crazy part, like I showed y'all in the broadcast, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to get ready to get out of here. But this is the standings here as it goes. Let me get on out the way so y'all can see it. On the right side, the Lions, 12-1, man. The Lions, Coach Campbell got the Lions, man. This team was a joke several years ago. They're the best team in the NFC with Campbell on top of them. 12-1. They clinched already. They clinched. The Chiefs clinched, the Lions clinched, and the Bills clinched. Number 2, Eagles at 10-2, Seahawks at 7-5, Falcons at 6-6, Vikings at 10-2, Pack at 9-4, Commanders at 8-5. These are the teams in what they would call in the hunt. And then, of course, on the outside, on the bubble teams, Buccaneers, Cardinals, Rams, Niners, and way at the bottom underneath the Cowboys is the Saints. Saints have a tiebreaker on the Cowboys, of course. The Rams did beat the Saints, so they would need them to kind of fall off the map, and then they can kind of control their destiny to a point. They have matchups against the Buccaneers, the Commanders, and the Packers, who are just ahead of them. So they would basically have to win out. They would have to go to Green Bay and beat the Packers there. They have to beat the Commanders next week, and they have to basically go win 5 games in a row to finish. What would that make them? They would have to finish out 5 games. So that would make the Saints 9-8. They would have to win 5 in a row, and they'll finish 9-8. Then they would have to hope that's enough to sneak in as a wild card team, depending on what's happening. I don't know if they win the division and all that kind of stuff, but like I said, they didn't play everybody in the split with everybody in the NFC South. They still have the Buccaneers to play at the end of the year, but they would have to win every game and finish 9-8, and then basically hope and pray that was enough for them to sneak in to the playoffs, from way down here. But they do have 3 of these teams in the hunt that they play. The Packers, Commanders, and Buccaneers. Those are teams that they play. So this is where they placed themselves. They put themselves in this real rocky terrain, man. And it ain't your fault. It's not my fault. It's their silly ass fault for being so dysfunctional. Jack says, what do you mean Big Q Saunders is the prototype? We must have used all the prototype. or DM, then you left with Saunders at defender. Colin Santa Claus. He is the prototype. He's not playing consistent, bro. I mean, I don't know what's going on with them two guys, but Colin Saunders, at times, he looks damn near unblockable. But like when he was in that Chiefs game, he came alive. Like, what was it, in the midway portion of the game? He got the turnover. He made 2 plays. He got through and made the tackle for a loss. Then the next play was an interception. Remember that against the Chiefs? But Colin Saunders is not really doing, he ain't really doing it consistently. Like, he's actually the guy. Colin Saunders is the guy that they gave a lot of money to be that guy. And Nate Shepard is really a guy that's supposed to be the reserve, like a rotational defensive tackle. He was there until Brian Bresee was ready to kind of take the next step. Well, Brian Bresee's ready. And I really do think Shepard will be better as a reserve defensive tackle with Brian, because you need disruption. You need your 2 most disruptive defensive tackles there. And then if you mix Colin Saunders and Tanu Passanio as reserve guys and throw them in the mix, I think that helps. I think that really helps. But you need disruption there. We're not getting it done up front. Teams are running too easily on the Saints. Over the last couple of years, we're surrendering too much yardage. So when you face a team with a good stiff running attack, they will bully the Saints defensive line, just like the Rams did. The Rams bullied the Saints, man, especially in that second half. They bullied them down the field. It took over the game in the second half. And then the Saints defense deteriorated. Offense rather. They had a chance at the end of the game. They marched down there, ate up all that clock, and then couldn't even do nothing with it. Couldn't even get the score in. So, that has to change, man. Oh, you're being sarcastic. I got you, Jack. I was like, okay, what you mean? He's a pro. Yeah, I got you, brother. Yeah, I was like, Saunders is struggling, my brother. Yeah, he has not been consistent, man. I don't know if he's hurt. Something's wrong there. I don't know, because Colin Saunders is usually terribly disruptive. But this year, is he still hurt? He's not listed on the injury report, but, is he dealing with an injury or something? Because he don't look nearly as consistently dominant as you would expect him to be. Like, you've seen him with the Chiefs. You've seen him in some of the games last year. This year, it's just like, no, it's not the same effect. It's not the same effect at all. Corvada says, Q, Saints not make the playoffs because all the wild card teams got way better records. Only hope is the division. I don't see them winning that. Saints let Loomis and DA bury them too deep in the hole. Yeah, he should have been fired, bro. They waited 7 game losing streak to put the man in the street. It put the season in peril and basically destroy all room for error that you had. But this is where they are in terms of the team. But there is a bright spot. It's not all negative. Like, we should watch the Saints bury the Giants in New York. It should be a 2-score win by the Saints. And they get, like I said, they get all these. They like to talk about all these guys we missing all that to get their offensive line together for the Giants game. That's how that looks against the Commanders. And as long as they're supposed to get Chris Olave back in a couple of games, him and MVS, that looks pretty decently. Kevin Austin Jr. is maturing pretty good. Keep getting our tight ends involved. Elvin's doing a wonderful job. We'll get Kendre Miller back this week. Hopefully they can throw Jamal Williams in the mix. Stuff like that. So there are some stuff to be it's bright spot territory here. But, it is always that question is it too late? They're not mathematically eliminated. That's why I showed y'all the graph. But we'll see, man. Like I said, it's a long way back. It's a long way back, man. You're right on that. Mickey Loomis took a long time to get the guy out of here. Jack says, Q, we don't have any D line that will threaten a double team. Before the season started, I was questioning our rush defense. Threaten a double team? Yeah, you got a guy. They got a guy with 6 sacks. He threatens a double team. That guy's terribly disruptive. And Kyle, that's why I'm saying, we need a switch there. Like, I'm so happy Passanio coming back, man. I don't know if he'll be under a restriction or whatever, but I'm hopefully him and they switch up Saunders and not Saunders, Shepard, move him, start him. Just do something. Just change it up. Do something different and see what it looks like. That's what I'm asking for. Max says, if we made the plus, we a wild card exit. Arvin says, and that will Mickey Loomis saying, well, hold on. What the hell you guys want? We made the goddamn playoffs. What do you want? Yeah. Now we can state the course. We can state a plan. I was right. I told you I was right. Yeah, you're going to come out and say that. Arvin says a competent organization would have fired DA after 2022, but Loomis gives him personnel, patient, job security. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was saying it. He wasn't lying. He's like, are you concerned about you losing your job? No. He said it fast too. It's like, no. But he because Mickey Loomis was telling him, man, don't worry about it, guy. You're my coach. I got you. And he was sitting up there letting him do it. Yeah, we had the guy's a saboteur, man. Guy crazy, man. The guy's out of his mind. All right. So anyway, fam, that's gonna do it for me, man. Like, I appreciate y'all talking at y'all, man, this Friday, man. Y'all about the Saints. And like I said, man, y'all give me y'all score predictions on how you think the game will end. I got a poll question in the chat, man. Appreciate you, family members, for voting in the poll. Who wins in week 14? Saints or Giants? And the family members, 74%. 74% says the Saints win. 10% says the Giants win. 15% says I don't know. So the I don't know is outrank the Giants win. I would definitely clearly say this is a Saints win in my estimation, fam. I think the Saints go to New York. They take care of business against the Giants. And it could be a precursor to a very interesting game against the Commanders that'll be coming on the following week, and see how they react to that, man. Getting Tanu Passanio back, getting Kendre Miller back, getting Eric McCoy back, getting Lucas Patrick back. These are a lot of guys to get back. And then a couple of weeks from now, what's going on with Chris Olave, getting him back if he's coming back. That's also very interesting because him and MVS will be a good tandem. So it's some stuff to be looking at moving into the next several weeks. That'll be interesting. That should spark the team in some positive way. Maybe it does, maybe it won't, but those are very solid players that's coming back. So we'll see how it all goes, man. All right. Asa says, Q, if we lose Sunday, we don't need to win another game. You're right, too. You lose to the Giants. The Giants is the worst team in the NFC. They are a 2-win team that is 0-6 in the building that we're going to play them in. If they beat you there, yeah, that lets you know right there off the bat. Yeah, that'll be catastrophic. And it's already been terrible, but that would be catastrophic if you lose to the Giants. Now listen, this is the NFL. Like I said, the Cowboys barely beat the Giants last week. What, 27? What was it, 27-20? It was a close game. They barely, they beat them 27-20. But this is the NFL, man. This is the NFL, and people, if you don't come to play, people will beat you. It don't matter what the record is. That's why you can't be caught off guard by the record. You got to show up and show out, regardless of who it is. So they understand if they don't understand how incredibly important these next 5 games is, then I don't know what to tell you, including the coaches. The coaches, if they don't make the playoffs, there'll be a new staff coming in here, and most of these guys won't be retained. Clint Kubiak and all these guys, they could be out of here. One hit a quitter looking for a job. So they have to understand, man, you better coach the next 5 games. I don't care what you did prior, because we can't change that. But these next 5 games need to be the best effort that you have right now. That's what it's going to be. They got to show out. All right. Yeah. I said we don't need to win any more games. We aren't winning anything of significance anyways. Super Saints fan IV says, you're right, Q, but we lost to the Panthers. So we got, yeah, right. Yeah, that right there. That was the game that got Dennis Allen fired. That was the game that got Dennis Allen fired. Because at the time, the Panthers were considered the worst team in the NFL or in the NFC. And they beat the Saints, which was a loss. That was a loss that we shouldn't have had, right there. The Saints should have been, that should have been a win. because there's no way you should have lost to the Carolina Panthers, but it was necessary because they got Dennis Allen out of here. That's how bad the team was. And if you do that to the Giants, you won't fire Darren Rizzi if you lose, but it just lets you know that he's not the coach for this team. That's what to me, a loss to the Giants, although it's not going to happen in my opinion, but small chance, right? If the Giants do win, that just shows you that Darren Rizzi is not the man for the job. That's just, to me, that's what I see when I hear it. But yeah, these are still NFL teams, and you got to get ready, man. You got to get prepared to battle these guys. So all right. But yeah, appreciate you guys for chiming in, man. Much love to you guys, man. Big ups to the guys that popped in the poll. Listen, fam. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the share button as well. As you know, our channel is sponsored by Mint Mobile, Teach Henley, and Bet Online. Our fantastic sponsors. Their links are in the description section below. If you're looking for a cheaper cell phone service, man, listen, man, how high stuff is, man. You got to do your budget. And when you're doing your budget, look at that cell phone plan, man. We spend a lot of money on cell phone, and Mint Mobile has really good service and some really good prices, man. Might be able to save you some money to put in your goddamn pocket. Let me tell you, Teach Henley, that's a good service for the brothers to kind of keep their skin game together for their significant others, and Bet Online, man. If you can't make money with the Saints, make money on the Saints, because they're doing it to you, baby. So those links are in the description section below. Also, the links to our link tree, which shows you how you can support the platform and the community via those links, is on our link tree. Those links are in the description section below. So with that being said, I'm gonna get out on that. Tomorrow, just a broadcast note for the team, for the family members. We will be back on Sunday at 11:45 to preview the game, leading into the play-by-play and then into the recap portion of the game for Sunday. As far as the Pelicans go, our PPR channel, Pelican Post-Game Report, we will be live boarding it for the Pelicans game against the Thunder. Pels and the Thunder are tomorrow at 6, and that'll be immediately followed by a PPR final. We'll recap the game. Me, DC, and Lex will be there as well. And also for my Patreon family members, patreon.com/the Pro Media Network, will be doing a On Cue with Big Q covering the shooting of the healthcare CEO. I was just wanted to share some stuff with the family members. We'll be doing that on Patreon tonight. Y'all be looking out for that. So if you want to join that, feel free to go to patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. On Cue with Big Q is our news show we do. We also got a bunch of content over there for stuff, a lot of historical stuff that that give you some good game on what's going on right now in the world. Really good game there. So, but with that being said, I'm gonna get on that. Listen, I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a fantastic week, man. And I'll see y'all on Saturday. Much love. Who that to you, Pete?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the
right.
PRO
Let's go.
Media Network.
Who that say they gon' beat them? Say who that? Who that? Who that say they gon' beat them? Say who that? Who that? Who that say they gon' beat them? Say who that?
Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to Bet Online today to get in on all the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. Remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who That too.